Hey there, comic fam. How you doing? Bullseye Bob here, and welcome to Everything Comics, and welcome to the monthly comic book review. This is the show that I've been excited about for quite a while. I mean, every time we do this, I get really excited, and so we're going to review. What are you laughing at?
Just as long as you're excited.
I am excited, man. I love talking comics with you guys.
Once a month, Bob gets all worked up.
I do. And so we got some people here that are ready to do these reviews. I'm just going to introduce the players tonight. We got Bueller from Comics with Bueller. How you doing, man?
Doing good, man. Glad to be here.
We got Jem Mint joining us tonight. How you doing there, Jem?
I'm doing good. How's it going, everybody?
All righty. I believe, Jem, you were the inspiration for the show originally, weren't you?
Yeah, I was thinking about that when I jumped on. I'm like, oh, this is kind of like what we did. And it's fun to like catch up and bounce stuff off you guys, stuff that I know I missed in books. And I don't know, just good to kind of wrap up and talk about it, right?
Yeah, well, it's good to have you here, man.
Thank
you.
And
we got Dylan from Dylan's Comics. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, brother. I'm doing good. Just glad to be here as always, man. You know, I look forward to this every month as well.
Awesome. And then batting cleanup as always, we got Rockin Robbie from Pop Culture Philosophers. How you doing, Robbie?
Oh, I'm doing great. Glad to be here, hanging out with my homies, talking about comics.
Come on now. All right, so I have to apologize to everybody. Last night is when the live stream was supposed to happen, but we postponed it for a very good reason. Our good buddy Bueller, it was his birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, Bueller. And
happy birthday, my brother.
Thanks, man.
So that he could be on. So
yeah, I told my mom, I was like, she's like, oh, are you coming over tonight? I'm like, no, I'm on a live stream with my friends. We're going to be talking about comics. So she gave me the mom disappointment look. And I was like, oh, crap, I can't do it. So, you know what? I had to pull the plug, and you guys decided to wait, which I appreciate that. So awesome I can be here and talk about some comics.
Yeah, awesome stuff. Well, before we get into our comic, I just want to acknowledge some people in the chat. Looks like we got Eric Froschneider. How you doing, man? We got Christopher Babcock, Bruce Johannes, Herminio. How you doing, brothers? We got Nick. We got Fable Mob. Let's see, we got Two Gun Pedro. Pew pew. Well, thank you all for joining the chat. Hope you all chime in because we got a lot of comics to talk about. For me, I'm really excited because I had one of the worst week in work as I've ever had. And I'm just like totally blasted out. I've worked 12 to 14 hour shifts all week long. And so I'm off work. I got my beer. I am time for my weekend to start, and I'm talking comics with you guys. So let's get on. Let's do this. So I figure what we do is we just go around and talk about, I know that most of us who do reviews, we do our picks of the week. And so we're just going to go around and do our picks of the month. And so, Mr. Bueller, what was your pick of the month this month?
Okay, so this was my pick of the month by far, and I actually don't have the issue because I read it digitally, and my shop never got a copy of it, but I read it. It was issue 3 of Join the Future is my pick of the month. This series by Zach Kaplan, which I actually didn't realize I actually met the guy, and he autographed some books for me and from his other titles. It took me a while to figure out who it was, and then I realized he was sending me copies of that book in my email. I was like, oh, thank you, Zach. I didn't know he had my email. But if you're not familiar with that book, it's basically a Western meets a futuristic city, and the futuristic city is trying to get all these people in these Western towns, or kind of they're lower, like almost poverty, I guess you'd say, towns, to come live in the city for free. And the book hasn't really explored why they won't want to do it so far, because there's really no downside to joining the future. And unfortunately, there was a little bit of downside because they didn't do it, and then the people from the future city came and wiped out everyone and killed everyone. And so that left this character right here, the female character, which is the daughter. Her brother was killed. Her father was killed. I think her uncle was killed. But in the third issue, she's training to kind of go and seek out revenge and stuff at the city, and she still isn't there yet. And she gets trained by a former mayor of one of the smaller cities and turns out that she sold his town to the future city at the end, and it's all a work at the very end of the book. So if you haven't read this one, I know a lot of you guys have read this one, but this was actually my pick. It's probably my favorite book going on right now. Join the Future.
Right on. Well, I know for myself, I haven't had a chance to be able to read that issue because the previous one, my LCS, never got me, and it's still on order, so I haven't got it yet.
Dang, you still haven't gotten it? You said that last month. Last month they didn't have your issue.
They still don't have it.
I know. I've been waiting on a couple books myself, man. I have to keep a list because I'm gonna forget. I got like issue 9 of Once and Future. I'm like, yo, bro, I never got 8. I was like, how am I supposed to read this?
Robbie, you read this one, Robbie.
Who publishes that?
It's Aftershock.
The only thing I've read on Aftershock was Donny Cates' Baby Teeth, which was good.
Yeah.
Aftershock does some good stuff. I would say that Join the Future is probably one of my favorites right now. Zach Kaplan's a very good writer. He did another book before. I think it was an Image book called Port of Earth. And that was pretty solid too. Yeah. And he also sends me the copies through my email. So Zach is a super cool cat. And I love the book. I said it last month. And I love how it's not casting judgment on which way of life is better. Yeah. It's just presenting both ways. And I guess Bueller, the biggest reason why it's a bad thing to join the city is because if you don't, they're going to kill you. And who wants to join up with somebody like that, right? Just to kill you and take your land.
I don't see the dilemma. That's the thing. It's like everything in the city is there for you. There's no poverty. Everything you want is there. If you want to, be a sports person, you can be a sports celebrity or whatever. It's literally you can do whatever you want. If you want to join the city and build an old, crappy Western city with very little supplies, you can do that in the city. So why not just join the city and not have to worry about all those problems?
Because why do you want to trust and have a government support you when you could be out there and doing it on your own and growing your own food and stuff like that? That's the stuff that they want to do. These are certain people that want that way of life.
You don't even really know if it's a government or nothing,
I mean, it's a system.
Yeah. Well,
it's obviously a corrupt and evil system that they're going out there and slaughtering these people just because they won't join their city of the future. Right. And by the way, there are spoilers on this show, everybody.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
There's some truth to that.
Someone's like,
you see what I'm saying, Robbie? You see what I'm saying? Because even like the kids at the beginning.
I see what you're saying, Bueller. You're saying that you're soft. And if someone was just like, here, come in our crazy city, even though we're slaughtering all these people, but you'll be able to do whatever you want to for free. You'll be like, okay, you join up. That's what you're telling me. You're a bootlicker, Bueller.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
45 years old, man. Yeah, you want to take care of everything for me? Sure, I'm good with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not down for the primitive way of life at all, man. They're like, start your own fires, build your own log cabins, grow your own food. I'm like, no, thank you, because I don't think they have comic books. They probably have comic books in that city.
Oh yeah, they got everything. Anything you want. Anything.
It's like a Star Trek world. Everything's provided for you, food and everything like that. And it seems like it would be a good idea, but we're obviously getting the idea that there's a corrupt system behind that, and somebody's benefiting, and I'm sure maybe one day I don't know how long the series planning on going, but I'm sure they'll get to that eventually.
Yep.
There you go.
But it's a good book.
That was my pick. That was my pick of the month.
I wonder if it's only like 5 issues. Sometimes they only do like little mini series.
I'm hoping that it's longer because it seems like a story that needs more issues than just 5 or 6.
Yeah, I'd like 12 at least. I mean, if we could get that, that'd be awesome. It's a great story.
Yeah, I like those 12 story arcs. Well, that's a great pick. I can't wait to get into that one myself there. So, Jim, what's your pick of the month?
So in preparation for this video, I had to kind of skim my last 4 reviews and kind of remember what I read and everything. And, I think it's hard for me to pick one book as my pick of the month. I mean, if I'm looking at like ongoing series, I feel like Gideon Falls is like the most consistent. It's the book I always want to read first. Jeff Lemire is becoming like my favorite writer in comics. And Andrea Sorrentino, his artwork is incredible. And the story is just interesting. I think they found like a way to like continue moving forward with this, because now we're dealing with like we were teased like time travel, and now we're in this kind of futuristic alternate version of Gideon Falls where people are selling their organs and body parts, and they're cybernetic. So being a pure blood person is like the elite, right? Then we have a lot of events that kind of kicked off, which are exciting. Like, I mean, Joker War, I find really fun so far with what we've gotten. Death Metal, I was a little confused. I had to ask Robbie to kind of help me out a little bit. But Death Metal's fun. I know Robbie's probably going to say Decorum. I feel like the third issue, the most recent one, made the most sense, and now we kind of have an understanding of what Hickman's doing with Decorum. So I think overall for me, it's got to be Gideon Falls.
Yeah, I'm slowly trying to build that up. I think I have about half the issues so far. Just whenever I go and I'm looking for them, I want to put together the run and sit down and read it because you guys have talked a lot about that series, and I guess it's worth the time.
They've got trades, but man, I can't imagine this is not going to be optioned for some type of TV show. I mean, it's got to be. I don't know if it already has been or not, but
it's perfect for like a Netflix show. Like
right.
I picked up the first issue, and I was like, man, it's just going to take a while. I got lucky with those ice cream men because of Robbie, but I've been reading that in trade. But I picked up the first issue because I was like, every time I read each issue, you're like, man, just it could translate so easily to television.
Yeah, it's definitely able to do like a Walking Dead or like a Preacher kind of thing. But I think even more interesting. Maybe it won't have the mass appeal as Walking Dead because that's zombies, but like it shows that it can open up these whole new worlds and just keep it going, you know?
Yeah. It's not at all what you expect. You think it's just some horrific story about a black barn, and then it's a little out there, but I've definitely enjoyed that one.
I love how the book keeps reinventing itself.
Right,
It starts off, and like Dylan said, it's just this urban horror book about like this black barn and this dude that's obsessed with it. Then there's this priest, and then it just literally just keeps changing. It's gone Western, it's gone sci-fi. Now they're like it's like 1984 dystopian sci-fi type stuff, and Jeff Lemire is just a beast, and anything that he creates is perfect and prime for anybody to pick up.
And just think about like on screen showing him collecting the pieces of the barn and putting the barn together and stuff, and then meeting the doctor. I forget. The only thing is I forget the names, man. I don't know the names of the characters.
And
that's the problem for me with indie books. Like, it's very difficult to make them memorable enough to be a household name. I mean, you have Rick Grimes with Walking Dead, and that's probably a lot to do with the show. But when it's not a superhero book, for me, it's more of what's happening situational than so much what's happening with the individual characters.
I think Erica Slaughter is a good name.
Dude,
that is a good one.
I think that's one you can remember.
Who is that? What book is that from?
Something's Killing the Children.
Oh yeah, the girl. Yeah, she's like the only one. But what's the name of the little boy whose sister got taken?
I don't know. I have no clue.
I don't know. The other boy's name is James, though. I know that.
I think it was something maybe like that.
That's funny. I didn't remember Slaughter, but I did remember Erica for some reason, though.
See, like in Gideon Falls, one of the dude's name is Norton. Like, who's gonna remember that shit?
Norton Sinclair.
Yeah, Norton Sinclair. See, we just figured it out.
And then Norton Sinclair, it was cool because it was like the name of the child that the sister was looking for him. All right, I'm already getting my head confused, but there's a lot of different elements going on in Gideon Falls because you have like the 6 degrees of separation between the characters, and then you have like this devil type character, then you have the barn, then you have like the machine that kind of puts you into alternate reality. So there's a lot of different aspects in Gideon Falls.
And the artwork is gorgeous. Like the layouts, the composition, Dave Stewart's coloring. It's just Sorrentino is one of the best artists right now, period.
Sorrentino tells a story with the paneling and like the symmetrical stuff, and like he does a lot. Every page is like totally different from the next.
Yeah. Even his superhero work was amazing for stuff like that. Him and Lemire did a brief run on Green Arrow that was really, really good.
But not even that. What about I didn't even mention it. Because it wasn't this month. But the Joker, the Smile Killer, the Killer Smile.
Was that Batman? No, we talked about that last month. I think
I'm talking about. The Batman one is the Smile Killer, but there were 3-issue series prior to that was the
Killer Smile.
Killer Smile.
Joker Killer Smile,
which was basically Gideon Falls vibes with a Joker Arkham Asylum kind of book.
Yeah.
It's freaking great.
Now that you put it that way, my FOMO is kicking in even more. I have collected Gideon Falls, but I haven't read it yet. I was about to read it last month, and then I got turned on to Nailbiter Returns, and so I went out and bought the whole Nailbiter set.
Yes.
And read that, so it's on my list.
Dude, Nailbiter's so good.
Gideon Falls needs a hardcover treatment of some kind. I hope they don't just do those regular deluxe editions and give it something like big, man.
Yeah. It's per like trade, because I haven't read it single issues, but it reads perfect as a trade.
Yeah,
like
it reads better in trades.
It really does, because I'll binge a trade in like 30 minutes, and I just want more, and I want more and more and more. So I've been trying to pace myself with it, because I'm like,
that's true, man.
You gotta wait sometimes like 6 months for that next trade if you just go through it. So I'm like,
the single issues though, it always leaves you wanting more, because it's not like a dialogue heavy book. It's pretty fast paced, and you're always like, damn, that's it.
Yeah,
seriously.
There's a lot of stuff, you're right, that came out this month, and so we have a lot to talk about. So Dylan, what was your pick of the month?
Man, I was debating on it, because it's so hard for me, but you said it, my man. Nailbiter. So I've been loving this. Like I picked the issue 1 up just randomly, not knowing anything about it, never read the first series or anything. Honestly, I picked it up because I'm a Joshua Williamson fan. My boy Robbie knows, loving that Flash. I know Bueller and Bob, you guys know about the Flash. But, man, I love Williamson's run on the Flash. So I was like, man, if he's doing horror. And then Two Gun Pedro sent me the first 3 trades. It's only 6 trades, the original series. And this second series just dives deeper and deeper into it. There's like a cult of serial killers, and I mean, it's just absolutely phenomenal. I've been loving it. I honestly haven't read these 2 issues. I've only read issue 1 because I was catching up on the original run, so I could read these. But either way, man, it's definitely my pick of the month, because I recommend anyone who hasn't read this to pick this up and then go check out the original trades too, because you'll definitely get into it, especially if you're any type of horror fan.
I gotta read the first Nailbiter, man. I have the hardcovers, but I've never read it.
Oh man, it's good. I only have the first 3 volumes. I gotta get the other 3. So it's only 6 trades worth of a series. The first, chapter or whatever, the first story arc. But yeah, man, I'm loving it. It's both creepy as hell.
Both the creators, Williamson and the artist, I think it's Henderson on there.
Mike Henderson.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, both those guys are local here in Portland. And
really?
Yeah, they get together, together and work on that book, in person, not over Skype or nothing like that. They're really good friends, and I know Joshua a little bit, but I know Mike a lot better. He's a really, really good guy. So he does some great work. He actually kind of mentioned that book to me before he was allowed to say anything, because he had said that him and Joshua had a project coming up, and he was pretty excited to show it. So I didn't pick up any of those. I think they're on issue 3 right now, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Yeah, it just came out this week.
Yeah, I need to get those for sure.
I love that cover too.
Yeah, I saw it on the shelf. I don't know why I didn't get it.
When the first issue came out, I didn't even know about the original series, and so I didn't go right into it. And the cool thing about it is the way it's written. You don't really have to read the first series in order to hop into the story.
Yeah.
Of course, it gives you a much fuller understanding of what's going on. But he wrote it in such a way that he gives you enough backstory so that you can hop right into the book. And I really enjoyed it. Mike Henson is one of those guys that I know from his work on Daredevil. But I'd say that his artwork inside of Nailbiter is bar none his best stuff. It's just amazing the way it comes off the page, some of the imagery that he gives you, and Williamson's writing. And I love Joshua Williamson's writing. So this book, as soon as I caught it, I had to go out and buy the original series. I just loved it that much.
Yeah, Henderson did Dead Man Logan as well, that 12-issue arc for Marvel. He did all those as well.
This stuff was really good in that book.
Yeah.
Nailbiter's one I actually haven't been able to sink my teeth into yet, so I need to get caught up. Yeah. I remember reading the first couple issues, and then I stopped for some reason. I was reading another one of his at Image called Birthright, though. I've fallen behind on that one. That one's really good, too. But Nailbiter, especially with you guys continuously talking about it. I got to get caught up on that.
So you didn't even get the returns? You just read the first couple issues of the original run?
Yeah, I was like, oh man, I knew it was coming. I was like, oh, I need to get caught up on Nailbiter so I can check this one out. And then no, just didn't at all. So I'm way behind,
man. So something's bound to slip past you. But dude, like it was the last copy in my shop. I saw it and I'm looking at it. I'm like, returns. I was like, because my shop owner, I guess that's when he picked up and he was a fan of it. He's like, it's about a cult of serial killers. And I was like, I'm in. I was like, Williamson, cult of serial killers? I was like, I'm in. Because he couldn't really tell me much because I was nervous I wasn't going to be able to jump right into it. But Bob said it perfectly. You could read it as its own or, pick up the other one so you can get a deeper knowledge of the, background story. And it's a phenomenal story. I love the artwork in it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great pick of the month there. Absolutely.
Thank you, brother.
So Robbie, what's your pick of the month, my friend?
Pop. It's not Decorum, actually. Though a very close second probably was Decorum. The level of craft on that one. But my pick of the month is this one right here. Alienated.
Man.
I am completely every single issue blown away by Alienated. This book started off interesting concept, a great way to execute the concept, and then just each issue keeps getting better. Issue 3 we talked about last month, and we were all like, "Wow, what a great issue!" 4 knocked that one out of the water. I don't understand. And this book gets deep. It deals with some real stuff. We all at times feel alienated from others, from society, from our communities, and this book gets into the feeling of alienation that you have sometimes, especially when you're growing up in high school. And the way it handles these 3 different characters, but they all are united by this feeling of alienation. And then to tie it cleverly into the idea that there's an alien artifact that they have, ties them all in telepathically together. They can experience each other's pains and joys. And wow, like what they did in issue number 4, this is a powerful issue that says a lot about mental health and how like usually the people that are the most jovial and most like exuberant, sometimes they're dealing with some really hardcore struggles. And this book just, holy cow. I don't even know how Simon Spurrier does this. I've never really been that solid. Like, I think his work is okay, but I've never been like, oh, you got to read this book. It's by Simon Spurrier. This book's amazing. Wild Goose's artwork and the coloring, the lettering, everything about it is top notch. And this is the pick of the month. And it's making its case for the best book of the year to me right now. So,
dang.
Yeah.
Are you surprised to see where that book went, Robbie?
Yes. Very, very. I'm surprised at how nuanced it is. Because you get to the first issue, you're like, oh, it's going to be about this mystery about where's this missing kid and all this. And it's, then you can kind of feel like you know where the story is going to go. And in no way whatsoever do you know. And the way that they focused on all 3 of these people and it's just, it's insane to me. I can't believe it. This was my favorite issue yet. They just keep getting better. And I think it's a 6-issue series. So we only have 2 to go. And already it's just one of my favorites of the year.
Who publishes that?
That's Boom.
I'll grab the trade on that or something, man. Because I never heard of it.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
One more issue, and I bet you the trade will come out. 1 or 2 at the most.
Yeah, I think it's just a 6-issue series, and there's nothing coming after that. Yeah.
Dude, like I was never gonna continue with that because I didn't really care for the first issue. I was like, it's good, it's cool. I was like, but it's nothing that made me like jump out of my shoes. Yeah. But dude, you and Mike sent that issue 1 to me, and then I was like, I was like, because I read it digitally at first because my shop didn't get it. Like it's all right because I usually kind of blow through it when I read it digitally. Like I don't really take it all in, but I read it again. Then you sent me issue 2. Man, I love it, bro. Issue 3 and 4 really stepped it up, man, and it's definitely one of the best books of the month. If not,
issue 1's very deceptive. I'm glad that it pulled me in just on the concept and the cleverness of the execution with the line work and the layouts and breaking panels and the cleverness with the lettering. Yeah, that really kind of brought me in. I was like, okay, I'll keep reading it because usually Simon Spurrier to me is a bit verbose. Sometimes it's a chore to get through some of his stuff. And this one is not the case at all. It's got a great pace to it. The issues don't feel too short. They don't feel too long. And the emotional resonance that's been laid into issue 3 and 4 in particular is astounding for a comic book, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. I think in issue number 1, it was a great concept. And then issue 2, he kind of did a little character building, and that was great. When he hits issue 3, which is what we reviewed last month, I mean, you're basically dealing with the issue of forgiveness. And the way he basically took the character to her past to, take the person that wounded you back with you to revisit that pain was just phenomenal. And I didn't think it would be able to be topped. And then when this issue came out this month, I was blown away, because now you're dealing with the issue of hurt people, and suicide, and on some deep emotional issues. And the way Spurrier wrote it, you can tell he understands the heart. He understands what drives people. And that particular character, I emotionally resonated with him, and it was just phenomenal. So didn't think that last month could be topped, and then you're right, he knocked it out of the park.
Yeah. Looking forward to seeing how they're going to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's the only thing that worries me, is that we're 4 issues in, there's only 2 issues to go. And it's like, how are you going to tie all this up? I mean, I have faith because of what he's done, but just worried a little bit.
It's funny you mentioned that a lot of like the Hill House comics series wrapped up, and a lot of them were very formulaic as far as like giving you the big bang in issue 5, and then issue 6 were just kind of like unfulfilling epilogue,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah, I got a couple of books that came out this month that were like that for me.
It's weird now that Hill House only has 1 more issue of Plunge, then it's all over. I wonder if they said nothing else.
They're not going to have any new titles or any sequels or anything?
They'll probably have a wave 2, I think, but we'll see.
Well, yeah, I guess with how they might be waiting for Halloween solicits or something.
And DC's thing is coming up in like a week or 2, whatever, that fandom thing or whatever.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Maybe there's an announcement on that. But Joe Hill's also just kind of a busy guy, so maybe. But I think that with the success of these books, I think they'll want him to come back, because they do want to keep putting out Black Label books that aren't Batman, right?
Yeah.
But I think Spurrier is going to be able to nail this ending. I hope so, because I recently read all of his Dreaming book, and that was, if anybody is a Sandman fan and they haven't read the Dreaming book with I think her name is like Bill Key Evely or something. Holy cow, that book's amazing too. And for someone whose work I never really got that into, it's just amazing.
Yeah, I picked up issue 1 of that. I remember when it first started, and I really liked it. It was kind of scary to get into that, because I've never read any of that Sandman stuff. So I was like, it's dope. I was like, but I have no idea what's going on. But I think it's kind of like meant to be like that in a little bit.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's a solid pick, Robbie. Appreciate you, man. So for myself, my pick of the month was not Alienated. My pick of the month was Kanto and the Clockwork Fairy Clockwork. I absolutely love this book. It just took me back to the original series and the greatest of ways. The way I can't think of who the writer's name is, but the way they're building the world and expanding on what happened inside of the first series. This was a great bridge between that first series and what's coming, and I can't wait. I think the coloring on it was amazing. The resonance of the heroics that I want to see are there, and I think the way they do the heroics in the book really resonates with me even more, because they keep an innocence about it, which is something I think is missed in a lot of modern day heroic stories. And it really resonates with my heart. So I can't wait for the new series to come out, but this book just gave me that wet my beak goodness that I wanted, and I just absolutely loved it. So that's my pick of the month.
I was watching some show. I mean, I forget his name. I wish I could give him a shout out. He was doing a lot of CGC reveals, and he was super hyped getting a bunch of like Kanto books like rated 9.8. Apparently, there were some tough ones in there, some variants in there.
Was it Carolina Chris?
Nope.
I know he got like 50 CGC slabs.
That was the first time I heard of Kanto or Cantu.
Kanto.
Right.
Well, what happened, Jim, is on the very first issue, when they sent those out, it was low print run number 1, and then number 2, the way it was packaged in the boxes, a lot of them came damaged. And
Yeah,
so,
that's what he was saying.
yeah, very hard to get a 9.8. I have the possibility of one coming back 9.8 because it looks like it got pressed perfectly. We'll see what happens. But it's one of those books that definitely it's hard to find in a high grade.
Yeah, and Canto #1 had a like a print defect, like that was like on the spine. There was some damage.
Yeah.
And this David Boer is the writer's name, by the way.
Yeah.
This one right here had a low print run too. It was actually allocated. So like we only got, and most shops only got like half or 60% of their orders. And there's stuff going on in IDW right now. But
yeah, there is.
And Canto and the Clockwork Fairies is a one-shot comic. Even if you've never read the series that came before, you can read this. But then I would highly encourage anybody to read this book. Like Bob said, it's the hero's journey, and it's done with an innocence and a purity, and it's like mainlining like Campbellian philosophy directly into your soul. Like I absolutely love this book. The artwork by Drew Zucker is amazing. Vittorio Astoni is an amazing colorist. This book is fire. And it's great for all ages, and it will resonate in a way that most comics don't, I think, in a very simplified way.
That's IDW, you said?
Yes.
Yeah.
So now that you mention it, I mean, let's not leave it the elephant in the room. I know Bueller on his preview video showed that there's a ton of IDW books coming out next week, and he mentioned that there was something going on there. And then we had news that came out, I think, this morning, that their publisher is being placed on administrative leave. Is that correct? Any of you guys can expand on that?
Well, the regular publisher was let go, and then they replaced him with a new publisher, and he was at the job for less than a week before he's on leave. And I noticed right away on the preview video that like IDW has more titles coming out next week than they've ever had coming out. It's like they're dumping all their titles all at once to put them out and sell some books and make some money, it seems like.
Yeah, during the shutdown, I know I kept hearing rumblings that certain companies, because when Diamond, we've talked about this, but a lot of people still don't really get the idea that when the shutdown happened and what led to DC wanting to leave was that Diamond stopped paying the publishers.
Yeah.
And some of these publishers can't wait. They don't have Disney money to back it up. And I heard about a few publishers that this was a big deal to, and IDW was one of them. I mean, two of their biggest licenses, TMNT and G.I. Joe, indefinitely got put on hold after a certain amount of time. Dang. And, they're the licensing like comic company right now. They're the ones that do like Transformers and stuff. They gotta pay for that stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's the danger when you're like solely kind of built around just your licensing, and I think they're in trouble. There's some things going on.
They don't have any like IPs that they own that they've created.
They have some, but like I think that because those are wind up creator owned, right? Because like the first thing that put them on the map was 30 Days of Night, but I don't think IDW owns 30 Days of Night, or Steve Niles owns it. I'm not sure about that. But they don't have anything super strong aside from the 30 Days of Night franchise, which honestly is kind of dead now. So
yeah.
And I just want to put this out there. When's the last time you saw a Dark Horse comic?
Yeah, it was funny. I was reading. Who said that? Was a sleepy reader? The only Dark Horse stuff I buy is their manga deluxe editions at this point. Berserk, and I'm reading Hellsing for the first time, and the deluxe editions are awesome. So maybe they're shifting to manga only. I don't know, man.
That's kind of what we're hearing. I asked the guy at our LCS, which is part of Dark Horse, and he can't give me a straight answer as far as what's going on. They're putting out a book next week, but it's like the Aliens script book. And they lost the license to Aliens and Predator,
and they lost the license to Conan as well, right? Yeah. So they lost Conan. So what do they have? They have Hellboy, right?
Yeah,
but they haven't put a Hellboy book out in 3 months. I mean, they've had like 2 titles come out since about 4 months now, and
there's no ongoing Hellboy. And would Mignola even need Dark Horse at this point? He could just put his own thing out if he wanted to do Hellboy. I'm assuming he owns it.
Yes, he owns Hellboy. He could do his own thing if he wanted. What's crazy, though, is that Mike Mignola's kind of stepped away from Hellboy. And so he's kind of letting other people do it right now. And the stories are still cool, but they don't have the impact that they did. And then you add in some unsuccessful attempts to bring Hellboy to the mainstream with like the last movie in particular, and that's not looking right now. It seems like they're banking a lot on this next Killjoy's book, which is Gerard Way, and I guarantee you they're just begging him, please write Umbrella Academy Volume 4 right now.
Yeah, you would think that here season 2 comes out, Umbrella Academy, they should have a book out at the same time.
Well, the problem is Gerard Way being a musician and rock star.
Yeah,
so they put out a hardcover, but nothing like new and ongoing.
Yep.
They are doing a Sean Simon, I think, or maybe it's Jeffrey Lambert, one of Gerard Way's co-writers. They're doing a Klaus-centric miniseries coming up soon, but it's not going to be one of the actual, because Umbrella Academy is meant to be like, I think 6 or 7 volumes of story, and it sucks with Dark Horse because they do, and they were an early champion of creators' rights even before like Image was, even before Image came around. Dark Horse was kind of like, Frank Miller went there, John Byrne went there, Mike Mignola was there, Mike Allred was there. Yeah. I miss those 90s days at Dark Horse when you had Madman, you had Hellboy, you had Sin City, you had Next Men, then you had the Aliens and the Buffy and the Predators and all that stuff, and they've lost all of that.
Think about all those titles that end up being much bigger than comics,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so Sleepy Reader just mentioned a few that we're not seeing that have disappeared, like Bang is another one, and then
I picked those first 2 issues up. I've been waiting on that issue 3.
And then also, what about the Black Hammer stuff?
Yeah. They just got to get some. I think they got to get some ducks in a row and start pushing, because they did announce that Seeds is finally going to wrap up at the end of the year, so they still have plans. They still want to put books out, but it's definitely going to be streamlined, I think, for the next year or so.
I just never see myself reading Dark Horse single issues. I only really ever catch their stuff in collected editions.
Isn't Mignola doing like Frankenstein though at Dark Horse right now?
Yes, he is. But he's not doing the art. But Ben Stenbeck's doing the art, and they did the Baltimore series together. So Mignola's he's not planning on doing art and comic books anymore. He basically just sits around all day and sketches and paints random stuff. If you follow his IG, Mignola's Instagram's the best. He recently did this thing where he just did a bunch of cereal mascots, and I want to get every single one of those framed and on my wall.
I got a boy. He works at Mountain Man Comics. He's obsessed with getting Mignola original art and shit.
He's my favorite artist outside of Jack Kirby. I love his work so much, and I got to meet him, and he was a super cool guy. So, and then also Dark Horse has had to deal with all these allegations against Scott Alley or whatever, who's a big time editor up there, including Umbrella Academy and Hellboy, and now he's ousted. So they're dealing with a lot of internal struggles right now.
Damn. Yep.
What a downer. Talk about IDW.
Dark Robbie.
Well, let's get on to some more comics then. But glad to be able to talk about this stuff. I mean, this is what we love, right? So let's get into what were you guys' best new comics of the month? Newcomers. I'll tell you. One of mine was That Texas Blood.
Man, I'm so pissed I missed out on that #1 issue, man. I need to figure out how to catch up on that.
I just read issue 2 today, man. Phenomenal. My shop didn't get it, so I had to get it from my buddy. And man, that book is phenomenal, dude. I ended up going with that variant.
Did y'all like issue 2? Did y'all like it? I know Bueller and Bob were blown away by issue 1.
#1 was really good. #2 was it was okay. There was nothing. It introduced a new character, obviously, and I think it spent too much time doing that and didn't move anything along.
Yeah.
So by far, issue 1's a lot better than #2, but 2 wasn't bad. But #1 hooked you. So
issue 1's like a one-shot, honestly, in its own way, and then because it even says that issue 2, at the end, it says part 1. So they honestly,
the end of part 1, yeah.
So it's they make it seem like issue 1 was its own one shot, and this is kind of. I watched a review too of them, or an interview, and they were saying that they kind of want to do it like X-Files, where it'll be maybe he's picking up, the sheriff will be picking up different cases or something. I don't know, but
I want it to be the sheriff. I want the sheriff to be the main character, and I don't. After reading issue 2, I don't know if the brother is the main character now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I got that feeling that this issue they introduced the brother, which I think was cool. I mean, it's a good introduction, but really, the way he built, the way they built issue number 1 had more mystery, had more intrigue. And one of the things I noticed about the artwork, I think the artwork worked better in issue 1 where they were out in the open and they have better backgrounds. I didn't like the artwork as much when they just had straight white backgrounds. It seemed to not work as well. I don't know. There was something there. But I love the dialogue, especially the way he builds the dialogue with the sheriff. And you're right, Bueller. I think I would much rather have the sheriff be the main character because there's a comical element to him as well as him having the wisdom of being a sheriff for a long time. So I love that character.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be an ensemble piece by the end of it, right? Like kind of like a Twin Peaks type thing where you do have like a couple of main characters that are focused on, but there's a whole bunch of personalities that are being brought into. And what I liked about issue 2 was that by introducing the brother and seeing the community's response to his return, it unveiled a lot of backstory. And it did so in a way where it just wasn't somebody telling you this happened, this happened, this happened. So I thought it was a better scripted issue as far as that goes. It was leaner, but it wasn't as empowerful. It wasn't as impactful and powerful as the first issue. But did you love, Bueller, how they used the title of the book in a line of dialogue?
Well, I like the fact that the guy's name was Travis.
Oh yeah,
Isn't there a meme for that when they say the name of the movie in the movie? You're like, I think it's like the DiCaprio meme or some shit.
Like we're doing the New Jack City review later tonight on our channel, and so I recently rewatched it like the other night, and I'm like, man, they say the name of that movie in the movie a lot.
It was so funny. I saw you were going to do that. I love that movie, man. In one of my first apartments I ever lived in, I didn't have cable, so you just would go to Blockbuster or something and buy a bunch of DVDs. Or I think I bought it from Walmart. But I remember just putting New Jack City on repeat, like just all the time, just to have like noise. Yeah.
That's a good one because it's got a great soundtrack too.
I saw it in the movie theater.
The old man. They wouldn't let my 10-year-old ass into the movie theater to see New Jack City.
Right on. So who else has a newer comic that came out this month?
Well, guys, help me out. I'm gonna mention one. Did the first issue come out in July though for the Batman Adventure Continues?
Yeah.
So I didn't think you guys were going to bring it up, but I'm really hyped about that. I'm actually rewatching the Batman animated series now. I have the Blu-rays or whatever. But to revisit this world and add new characters like, is it Jason Todd, right?
Yeah, Jason Todd, Deathstroke.
Deathstroke, right? So to add those characters and just revisit that universe, super fun. I think there's only 2 issues out right now. So that was one that I was hyped for. I think it delivered, and I'm definitely going to keep picking it up.
Hey, man, I was going to bring it up, man, if one of these guys didn't, because that's one of my favorites. That was besides the Keaton stuff, I'd say, man, that was my shit growing up. That animated show, I actually want to get that Blu-ray set one day to rewatch it all, like remastered, but
yeah.
I love that show. It still holds up to this day. It's a little goofy, but it's meant,
Hell no, it holds up. I'm watching it now because I want to do like my 10 favorite episodes and like the 10 least favorite episodes. But there's a ton of episodes, man. I'm like, holy
right?
I think it's the best version of Batman ever, and that includes any comic book. I think that's just the perfect distillation of Batman.
The animation, how they make him jump, it's almost like a body of water. Like it's so smooth the way they do his motions and stuff. It's like crazy.
I love how the cape like comes around him too, and like I love the red skies and everything, man. Like that. Yep. Dude,
look at the Batman books today, and you'll see so much influence from that series still.
Oh, yeah.
I love like the 50s gangster element. Like all the bad guys are wearing suits. It's like Goodfellas style. And then I love the cars. They all look like 50s Buicks and stuff,
But it's still futuristic, right? Because they got the airships. Like it's not really set in a time period, which I think is great. And it's going to make it just last.
Those big like police blimps with the spotlights, and even his bat plane is like futuristic, but it's still it's like its own universe where it's like the style is 50s, but the technology is much more advanced than what we even have.
Yeah, it's like a neo-futuristic Art Deco type thing. It's really
definitely even
really cool.
The fonts are super Art Deco, where they have like literally those big like D's and B's, like when you show like the title of the episode. Yeah. And man, my favorite episodes have all been like these dramatic villain origins.
Like Heart of Ice, right?
The Heart of Ice is up there. The Clayface one is up there, man. Like
Yeah.
they really gave a lot of depth to villains. To where Joker's almost my least favorite, but it's hard to not like that Mark Hamill voice, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They do a couple goofy things. I felt like with Mark Hamill's Joker.
So
Like
that's actually one of his episodes is going to be on my worst, and it's going to be blasphemous. But it's like, yeah, man, the Joker storylines sometimes were too goofy. Where you had Heart of Ice, which was like serious.
Yeah, I love the Clayface in that series, man. Clayface is one of my favorites. But yeah, Fable was saying Mask of Phantasm.
Oh, such a great movie.
Best.
Yeah.
One of the best.
So that's actually in the box set as well as Sub-Zero. They have their own ways.
Oh,
so
cool.
I'm gonna do the series, then I'm gonna do those two movies as well.
Dope.
I think they did a Batman Beyond box set too.
They did not Blu-rays, I don't think though, but I see it at Walmart, like a $40 complete series. I'm gonna have to get that too, man.
Return of the Joker is a great movie too. Speaking of Batman Beyond, that's a good one.
They must. I don't think it's a 4K scan. I think it is a Blu-ray scan though. I'm not sure that Batman Beyond. It might have just recently came out.
Oh, maybe there's a new one then. I'm thinking it might be the new one.
I think there was a new one and it came with like a Funko Pop or something. So who knows? Yeah. It could have sold out real quick. I don't know.
So that would be my pick. What's it? Batman: The Adventures Continue. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Yep. Do we know? And it's Paul Dini's writing, no?
It's Paul Dini.
That's
Paul
awesome.
Dini and Alan Burnett, who were writers on the show.
I never know the answer to this. Do you guys know if is it supposed to be a limited series? Is it an ongoing 6 issues?
6 issues.
That's
sad, man.
But they'll probably do a volume 2 because of its popularity.
I think in this day and age with comics, that's what it's all about. Let's see how it goes, and then we'll do more.
Yeah.
Well, there's a rumor that Disney's going to reinstitute the X-Men animated series, and if they do that, I can see Warner Brothers trying to bring up competition and bring back out the Batman the animated series based on some of this newer stuff.
Well, I think it was New York Comic Con. I was talking to I think he was the artist and director. I forget his name, man, but he did everything. And he was
Bruce Timm?
Yeah, Bruce Timm.
Who?
Bruce Timm?
No, for X-Men.
Oh, for X-Men, I got you.
He was the artist and the director. And he was telling us back in October, like, "Yo, it's coming back." We're in talks right now, so hopefully that pulls through.
I hope so. That'd be awesome. That's a great pick, Jim. How about you, Robbie? You have anything new that came out this month that really took you? Oh,
I gotta read. I gotta pick it up.
Anytime you got something new from Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips is going to be one of the best new things of the month. I loved this book. This is the whole thing. Right here, nothing before, nothing after. It's a great story. If you like their stuff on Criminal or Fatale or Kill or Be Killed or The Fade Out or anything like that, you're going to love it. It's got a combination of like a pulpy style as well as a Western style. I love it. And the colors are gorgeous. Jacob Phillips, Sean Phillips' son, is the colorist. I think this is his best coloring work, is probably in this graphic novel. The artwork, the way that Ed Brubaker, and I said this on my reviews, the way that he can do that hard-boiled 30s, 40s style of dialogue and narration, but not let it sound cliche, let it sound natural, is amazing to me. Because most people, like, if anybody read the Spider-Man Noir that came out this last week, like, the dialogue's really cheesy. I mean, it's meant to be, and you're like, oh, they're just kind of goofing on, that like crime noir type stuff. But when Brubaker does it, it doesn't feel like it's forced or cliche or a parody.
Is it like sometimes I burn myself with a match just so I feel something?
Yeah, right.
Wasn't that from the Into the Spider-Verse movie?
Yes, that's my favorite line in that movie, actually. Sometimes I just burn myself with a match just so I can feel something. But then I have Nick Cage deliver it. Yeah. But Pulp is great, and it's a hardcover. It's only $16.99 though, but this was a great 20 minutes, probably 30 for other people, but I had to try to fly through it to fit it in for the weekly comic book review. But I absolutely loved it. It's about this dude who was like a cowboy bandit in the 1800s, and now it's 1939. He's an old man. He's a writer who's not making ends meet. He's got a new wife. He's nearing the end of his life, he feels, and so he's like, well, maybe in order to set her up, I need to return to a life of crime. But now he's an old man. Times are way different. And the story is his journey into trying to figure that out. And it's really, really good and powerful. Anybody else read that yet? Bob, did you get to read it?
I didn't. My LCS, it's one of the books that did not come in. They promised me that it'll be in this week. Oh, man. I was so disappointed. so looking forward to that one.
It's a great one.
Yeah, and I'm surprised you were able to actually get it read before your reviews. I know that was a concern.
I know, right?
I'm
So
a beast, man.
anytime it's new comic book day, the last thing I'm trying to do is pick up a trade or a hardcover and slam that with all the other issues, you know?
Yeah, I did it twice this month, but it was easy with Firepower because not much came out the first week. But
yeah, makes
on
sense.
this one, it's beneficial now because I get my DC books a couple days earlier. So I got to read my DC stuff first. So that was nice.
I'm trying to do that too. I'm trying to be like, yo, let me get the DC books on Monday. So this way I can at least knock those out. Then the Marvel on Tuesday. And
Yeah. Well, I tried as all get out to read my books this week. I'm so behind. I've only actually read 2 of my books this week. So I'm looking forward to getting into them tonight.
Yeah, I'm behind on this week too.
So I don't think I have anything I'm reading on Image that comes out this week.
There was definitely a couple of good things. But what's that? The soldier one, Robbie. What was that one called?
Lost Soldiers.
Lost Soldiers. Yeah, that's one that came out from Image this week, brand new.
Jim, there's a Image title you should put on your poll. It's called Stillwater by Chip Zdarsky.
Can't wait.
I know you're a fan of him, so I don't know. I think it's horror. It's like a horror.
Yeah,
title.
I think it's supposed to be like a demon baby horror type thing or something.
Yeah.
We haven't really learned too much about it. So
how about you, Bueller? What new came out this month that impacted you?
Well, a couple of new ones. I haven't read it yet, but really, you don't need to read stuff like this. You just have to look at it, and that's good enough, right? So we got,
I enjoyed that book, man.
Snake Eyes Dead Game. Look at that. I was looking forward to that one. But the one I did read, and it's a number 1, but it's not new because it's part of the ongoing storyline for Deceased. But Dead Planet came out. This is a 7-issue arc. I love these. I really do. I mean, as far as DC books right now, more of these, please. The zombie thing was kind of played out for a long time, but then they have this spin on it, with superheroes and stuff. Mm-hmm. It's really good. I read this one. Number 2, I think, comes out next week.
It does.
It has the. You got Cyborg using Morse code. Wasn't that what he was doing to send a signal? Tell the people to come back. And apparently, there's a cure, or they think there's a cure to what's going on. And I think it's 5 years in the future, if I'm not mistaken.
That's
from the last book. So they've been living off planet for those 5 years. And now they're going back, and it looks like Wonder Woman's been waiting for them the whole time. So that's pretty cool. I love this book. I did not read, and I'm curious if any of you guys read the straight to digital ones. The story arc. I think it was 3 issues.
Yeah. I've read them all. They're really good.
Am I missing out? Should I go get those? Do I have to have them for the whole thing?
I think they're only a book, but you can only read them digitally. But
they're going to put them in print soon.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe wait till they get put in print. I think that I wouldn't say they're essential, but I say it gives you a bigger understanding of some of the characters and what they've gone through, because it kind of the first 3 focus on just one is Jimmy Olsen, one's Wally West. Like the first 3, or I think it's first 3 or 4, they focus on one character, but then I think the last one focused on Damien and
Jonathan.
Yeah. I love them though. I wish they would have just printed them though.
Yeah, anything Deceased, I'm on board.
Did you like Deathstroke's daddy daycare training the kids to survive in the Deceased universe?
Yeah. Killables.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and Killables was great.
Oh, yeah.
You had Cheetah. I don't think I've ever liked Cheetah, the character, until
Yeah, this has been the last couple of months have been Cheetah's coming out, because I liked her inside of the Wonder Woman Dead Earth as well. And it's the only time I've ever liked that character is Dead Earth and the Deceased stuff.
I mean, you gotta look at DC has this one, and they have Death Metal going on, and then Marvel's big event right now is Empire, and that's extremely lackluster. And some DC's got some pretty good event books going on right now.
But before we get into that, the real question is Deceased or Marvel Zombies?
Deceased.
Dang. But what about Marvel Zombies with Peter Parker straight? I don't want to spoil if anyone hasn't read, but there was a lot of wow factors in Marvel Zombies. It was goofier.
Yeah, Marvel Zombies is way goofier, and it's got some fun bits. And but DCeased makes you feel bad for what's going on to these people, right?
Brutal.
Yeah, you're right.
I think DC's doing it right too. I mean, so far everything for DCeased has been written by Tom Taylor, and I think that's the way to go. I mean, he keeps building this out, and I'm loving every minute of it. And as long as they keep doing that, I think we'll have a really good storyline for some time to come.
And how brutal is Mirror Master in that book, yo?
Oh man,
bastard!
He was never scarier until that book, man. So well done.
Yeah, Tom Taylor's been doing a phenomenal job.
Yeah, I just got caught up on Suicide Squad. He's doing a great job on that book, man.
I know, I heard, man. I dropped it, and everyone's saying that's the one I should be picking back up.
Yeah, it's definitely one of DC's best books that's out right now. He's just killing.
I love Tom Taylor, but it just didn't pull me in after it. Like issue 1 was okay, but I was just like, I don't know if I care about these characters.
Yeah,
I felt the same way, Dylan. I felt the same way. Yeah. And then Monday night, I read all 6 issues and then read issue 7, and it just blew me away. That book has style, dude. Damn. That book's like your favorite heist film, all your favorite heist films all wrapped up into one almost. Like the style and approach to it, like especially issue to issue, is it's really solid. And it's a book that has Harley Quinn in it, and she's not annoying the hell out of me. Yeah. It focuses on Deadshot. The new characters are intriguing and interesting. So I've enjoyed the hell out of it. And King Sharks does some crazy stuff in the Tom Taylor run of Suicide Squad.
Absolutely. So much fun. As a matter of fact, the last book that came out just before this new comic book day, the last page gave me a belly laugh. That scene between Deadshot and Batman killed me. That was so awesome. So if you definitely need to hop back on that one, guys.
I hear issue 7 was really good.
Yeah. I can't wait to get into it tonight. So how about you, Dylan? Was anything new that came out this month that really grabbed you?
If it was new, I mean, I was gonna say Bleed 'em Dry. Well, I was gonna say this, but this isn't really new, but it's kind of new to me because I just caught up. I tracked down all 7 issues of The Last God, so it'd either be this or Bleed 'em Dry. I don't know what would count.
So tell me about The Last God, because I got to issue, because I was excited about it when it first came out. Then I got to issue 3 and then I dropped it.
I tapped out too.
Yeah, man, it's kind of deep and complex, but they dropped that like fifth or 6th compatible that kind of gives you like insight knowledge on like a bunch of these characters and all like the magic and all the entire world and like the realms or whatever. And I mean, it definitely helps, gain like a inside perspective, but the artwork is just really good. And I said, screw it. Like, it was in my box and I was like, no, I don't want it. I was like, it's probably some Conan ripoff, but it really is like nothing like that. I'd say it's, it's got like, some Lord of the Rings ties in it and a bunch of other stuff, man, but it's dark. The artwork, I mean, this book is like, to me, it's worth buying just for the artwork. Like, it's absolutely incredible. But I could see how some people, might not like it, because sometimes you're reading it and you're like, dude, I don't even know this dude's name. It's like Takakan or T'Chakpin or something, it's like one of those. But I don't know, if you give it time, I feel like this is one that you could read like over and over, and just each time you would read it, you would gain like more knowledge than the last time. I don't know. I always like the fantasy stuff, so it's been intriguing. It's not like my favorite of all time, but I do really enjoy it.
Yeah, that's one of the things that drew me to it in the first place, because I love fantasy stuff. And, and the artwork, was great in those first couple of books, but he started dropping stuff, that made no sense and expected me to understand it. And it was too much of that, so I just had to drop it. So maybe this compendium you're talking about, all the knowledge would help out.
This is it.
Yeah, see, for me, for Last God, like I read all the books on Tuesday, and I kind of got to crush them to drop a video. Like Last God doesn't feel like a book that I can do that with. I feel like I kind of got to sit with it a little bit.
Yeah. Yep.
So maybe that'd be something that I could catch up later in trades or something if they do those, or something that I don't feel obligated to have to kind of read quick, because there's a lot of backstory they give you, especially at was it a whole issue like that, or was it just at the back or something?
No, it's a whole book. It's a whole book.
I mean, it seems like they're trying to do a lot of world building, like, or I guess universe building within like what's going on with the mythos, but.
Yeah, he definitely is. It's called the 5th edition compatible Tales from the Book of Ages, and it just like I think in a way it kind of does like a Dungeons and Dragons type thing, where it says this is like a role playing game campaign source book, so you could like turn this into like a role playing game. But
they put a lot of thought into The Last God.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm reading, I'm just like, damn, I'm like, where is he getting all this stuff? Like, where is he getting these names, first off? And it's just, I got to commend the guy for, all the, info he's putting in there and all the research he probably did, to get this made. And, I dig fantasy. So, I mean, I don't know if it's only like 12 issues or what, but I'm going to stick on it for a while. I've enjoyed it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to open it up. I mean, what are some of the other comics that you're reading this month that they're getting your juices flowing, that make you excited? Let's go with Robbie. What else are you reading, man?
Well, another one, and I know this is going to shock y'all, but Decorum by Jonathan Hickman and Mike Huddleston. I love the hell out of this book. This book has been blowing me away since issue number 1. And it's not even all about Jonathan Hickman. Like, I'm a huge Hickman fan. East of West, Manhattan Projects, Pax Romana, Nightly News, his Avengers and Fantastic Four work, all the stuff on the X-Men.
Yeah.
But it's not even Jonathan Hickman that's drawing me into why this book is so awesome. It's Mike Huddleston's artwork. Holy cow. I know it throws some people off because he changes his style up so frequently, but I think that it's incredibly impactful because he's doing that. I'm trying to read into his intent on why he's doing certain things on certain pages. So it's a book that makes me think. That means it's challenging me to pay more attention to how the art and the story relate to each other. And I really like it when books do that, because for the most part, comic books can be kind of disposable entertainment. You read it and you throw it away. Maybe you put it up in a box. Maybe you never go back to it. But Decorum's one I go back to. I read the first issue of this thing like 6 times already, and I'm loving it. It's a deceptively simple story. All it is it's about this woman who's got impeccable decorum, great etiquette, and she's an assassin. And now she's trying to train a new one. But in Hickman's typical fashion, he throws it all into this incredibly well thought out sci-fi complex, rich world that honestly is just set dressing for the most part so far. I love the hell out of this. This was a great issue, and it blew me away. And what Huddleston's doing on here is it's akin to what Sorrentino's doing on Gideon Falls for me. It's innovative, and it's pushing the medium forward. This is what people like Jack Kirby, Mike Mignola, Todd McFarlane, this is what they did with their artwork. This is crazy ass stuff for me, and I love it. Decorum.
I love
the thing about Decorum, you'll turn the page and it'll be this huge painted space scene, and you're like, damn, that's like a dope phone wallpaper background or something.
Yeah.
And then it'll be like a black and white squiggly line type of page. So it is kind of crazy like that. But Hickman kind of gives you more than you need to know sometimes. It can be overwhelming, like telling you all the factions of the universe and the multiverse. It's like, dude, do I even need to know this? And so far, you really don't. So I don't know if that's going to ever pay off. Or
well, when they show up in issue number like 4 or 5 or whatever it will be, then you can be like, oh yeah, that's right. We already knew about them. They were kind of set up there.
I'll never remember that faction or that sanction. Or he did the same thing in House of X, right? Where it's like the different levels of a thing or whatever. I don't even know how to explain it, but
yeah. Oh, 100%. Like with the technomancy and all that stuff. Like when he's talking about the phalanx and all that, right?
So,
and how they take over whole like civilizations and galaxies. Like, don't think that that's not coming. Like that's not even in his newest issue of X-Men. That was the Vulcan themed one. There was a lot of stuff laid in there about Vulcan and how crucial not only is his character, but what has been done to that character is going to be going forward in the X-Men. And then every single issue of X-Men has just been him planting these tiny seeds that are going to blow up.
Did they say what was the race that was like operating on Vulcan or whatever they were doing to him?
No, but it's something that we've never seen before. It's something brand new, and you get the idea that they are they're extra dimensional and not necessarily extraterrestrial.
I got the vibe like they looked inside of him and they're like, "That's the real you, the piece of shit guy." Like there he is.
Oh, and they did this brilliant thing with it. So yeah, well, let's talk about X-Men number 10. But they did this brilliant thing too, where like he legitimately is trying to be a good person right now, and he has a family now, you know, and now he knows that this thing's inside of him that they can unleash at any moment. And just imagine what that does to his character. And that's why when it ends, he's like, I could break this moon in half, but I don't want to be like this anymore.
So the best thing about Empire to me is it tying into the Summers house on the moon. That's the only like redeeming quality so far for me.
And you don't even really need to know too much. You just need to know that the Katati are plants. They want to kill Earth, and they're on the moon. Empire's been a dud for me. I really was impressed with issue number 1, but 2 and 3 were very dull for me. But this... And like that's the cool thing too is like even if you're not following Empire, it doesn't matter. Just read the X-Men book and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Because in the Empire tie-in for X-Men, if anybody skipped that because they're not following X-Men, not X-Men number 10, but the other one, like you don't want to skip that if you're following X-Men.
A lot of books are above my pay grade.
I don't even think he put that in my box because I was gonna skip it. I was looking at that and I was like, is this that X-Men?
Well, like, do you remember the old lady, Golden Girls or whatever?
Yeah,
they show back up.
I was surprised they didn't use them. Like they showed them like a whole issue was dedicated to them, and then bloop, that's it.
Because it's just a setup for something else coming.
Huh.
That's what he's doing.
A setup for an issue a year later.
Like that's what Hickman does. Hickman, can you imagine what Hickman's office looks like? You know, it looks like one of those like one of those police detectives trying to track down a serial killer.
Like Charlie Day.
Exactly.
Those psychotic detectives that have been told that you're let off this case 100 times and he just won't let it go.
So they're living in a basement with tacks and strings and maps and photos.
Looking like a meth addict. Now, this line's up here, this line's up there.
It's like that whole wall right there is just my notes for X-Men number 10.
Yeah. Oh, man.
X-Men 10, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed Decorum very much. I think the line work when it gets into those monochrome pages, there's some brush work and then there's some line work there that's really well done, really nuanced. And it took me a while to understand where they were going with it by having those, artistic pages and then going, to the more comic book style pages. And I just really love it. I think it really is damn near, like I said on my review, it's a piece of art. It's just amazing. So,
one of the things we were talking before the show that, I had just watched that Todd McFarlane documentary, Like Hell I Won't, which to me was very inspiring, needs to be like longer. But one of the things he said was like, I realized that all I have to do is give you 4 to 5 wow moments in a 20-page comics. In a 20-page comic, and those 4 and 5 moments sell everything. He says it's like remembering 2 lines from like 1,000 different songs. And that's what Decorum, I think, is kind of doing too, is that those moments when you hit those wallpaper appropriate images that Jim was describing, like you're just like, whoa.
I'm looking for one now because I have that. I'm actually reading that digitally. I'm looking for that page where it's like, man, this should be my phone background. Let me see. Hold on. But here's one right here. If you want to zoom in on me.
Yeah.
This was very this was very interstellar.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And remember that singularity is important, right? Because there's a church around, like developed around that whole thing.
You couldn't really tell it was overexposed, but that looked like that black hole sun thing, for lack of a better term. Here goes another one that's like,
oh, that was a great page.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't really get the quorum until the 3rd issue. Then I was like, okay, so basically she's a courier, and now she's going to be trained as an assassin. And all the other trainees have been training their whole life for it, and she's just kind of like thrown into it.
Yeah.
Oh, so people, those other training assassins are going to hate her, you know.
But she's going to excel, and then she's probably going to have their respect, and she got to earn the drill sergeant's respect. I forget the name if she was given one.
She's going to have to kick some ass. It's a very unique story, though. It's
definitely enjoying it. Bueller, what else you reading, man?
Well, there's a couple titles that came to an end this month. I haven't read it yet, but Middle West is one of my favorites. And this was the last issue 18. So this series is done. But the other one that came to an end, this was a limited series. This was Olympia number 5. I kind of mentioned it earlier in the show. This story arc is over. I really enjoyed this book. I think Bob and I talked a little bit about this one. I don't think we both thought number 5 was as good as what we hoped it would be.
Yeah.
And it was kind of it was still good. I just was hoping for something a little bit better. But Olympia is a story about it's about a kid who reads this comic book, and the character from the comic book is an actual comes to Earth, like a Thor almost type thing. And then they go and to search out the actual writer of the comic. So they team up with the writer to defeat the enemies that also came to Earth, and there's a big, huge battle in a town and everything, and it just kind of stops at the very end. It just kind of it's done, it's over, and you're just kind of left like, okay, the climax was just like spending the night with me. It just wasn't that entertaining, but it was okay, and I just wish it would have been better.
Do you think they're gonna get a volume 2, or is that it?
No, I think it's just that's it. I don't think they're doing anything more. I think there was this book was Robbie. Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't this book originally a father and son project?
Yes.
Yes, yeah. And then the father passed away.
Yeah, his father passed away before the book ever actually saw print.
Yeah.
Oh wow, maybe that's why.
That's why I felt that issue had some powerful emotional stuff dealing with that.
Yes,
like that scene when he's like, oh, it's been like an entire month since I've read it, but the scene towards the end where he's like talking, the comic creator I think is talking to the kid or something like that, but it's almost as if Kurt's talking to his father.
Yeah,
you know, I thought that was good too. But I think the series peaked at issue 3. 3 was super solid.
That was all the author one, right? When they're he's at his home, and they show up at his door.
Yes, but Kurt Pyers and Deodato, they have a bright future because they just did that youth book, Volume 1. It was a Comixology original. It's already been, I think, optioned for Amazon, which is not a surprise. I'm sure it was developed in order to be optioned by Amazon because Comixology is owned by Amazon. But I thought that overall the series is really strong, but I thought that the ending could have had a little bit more flair to it with the page count.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I had the preview for that other book in here as well, if I'm not mistaken, or something. That one that was your pick of the week or something like that.
Pulp or Firepower.
The other Firepower, yeah, that one I think. But I mean, let me ask you guys this: have you guys had any problems getting back with books after the break? There's a few titles I've been like I was all up for, then the break happened. There's nothing came out for 3 months. And I've tried to get back into them, and I just haven't been able to. And I don't know what to do. I mean, I'm getting back into most of them, but there's a handful I really enjoy that I just don't. They're just not doing it for me.
All the X-Men stuff I've fallen off after the break, man. I had a lot of titles, and I'm trying to bring myself to just read them, and I just keep stacking them up, and I'm like, yeah. Most of my indies though, I'm still all for, but. Yeah, man. There's been a lot of titles that kind of,
Yep.
You lose your patience, and you're like, is it really this great, really that good?
Yeah, I can see that happening with the X-Men books, just because there's so much going on.
Yeah.
And independent books are a little simpler because that's just the story. But even with those, I'm still like Red Mother. I was all over that one, and then after the break, I just haven't been as on the ball as to read them when they come out. I just I'll read it later. So I don't know.
I've been loving Red Mother, but I'm trying to think of one of the indie. I haven't read Decorum. I didn't read that Decorum issue 3 yet. I love it though, but I have a whole book, mixture of books from last week. I didn't finish Kill Lock. I only got up to issue 4 on that.
Yeah, Kill Lock ended this week.
And I love that, So in a way, I was kind of maybe I'll just wait for because it's kind of like with TV shows. I don't like waiting week to weeks. I like to wait for the entire series to come out, and then I'll just binge it. So some of these, I'm like, you know, I was like, let me just stack up. Most of these are mini series most of the time. So I was like, I'll get the last 2 issues, and then I'll just, since I probably don't remember what happened in issue 3 or 4 anyways, because it came out, you know, maybe, you know, right before the shutdown. So I was like, just reread it all. So I was thinking that, but sometimes you never even get back to it. You'll be like, I got so much I'm reading already that it takes a while for you to go back and, you know, reread it. I don't know how Robbie finds the time to read all this stuff sometimes.
I was going to say, I haven't had this problem because during the shutdown, I actually have somehow added more to my reading list.
Me too. Me too.
Because I was getting caught up on all those DC books I wasn't covering, because DC came back first. And I'm like, oh crap. That's why I read all of The Dreaming. Cause I was like, man, the last issue of The Dreaming comes out the first week comics come back. It's the biggest release. It's like the only release. And I'm like, I have no idea. So I read that was like a 2-day process. I tried to do it in one, but you can't do it. You can't read 20-something issues of something that dense in one night.
Yeah. I was already reading a bunch of those Marvel and DC titles, so I ended up dropping a lot of them. But it was the indie titles that I was catching up on during that time, like Red Mother, The Plot. And now I've added them because I was like, dude, I can't believe I missed them, you know? So my list is bad, you know? Lucky for Robbie. I mean, he gets to take a portion of those books back and he'll be like, I'm going to keep these and put the rest back. I'm like, ugh.
Hey, I put myself in this position.
Yo, I definitely did.
My whole life was directed around this.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, Bueller, you know, same thing with me. It's the X books. I've had a very hard time getting back into the X books, and that's the only titles that I seem to have that problem with. So I'm trying. You know, I like the Wolverine issue last week. But I still haven't read the new X-Men book, and I've been falling off of them. So, but speaking about, Dylan just brought up a great point. There's a lot of great DC and Marvel books that came out this week. Let's talk about the highlights for Marvel of this month.
Well, Venom and Thor are probably the big 2 that people are talking about the most.
And Strange Academy. Really? I'd say Strange Academy, Venom, and Thor.
Yeah,
that was the triple threat right there.
I don't have a single Marvel book in my stack here. I think Marvel's fallen behind as far as the excitement level. They still have excitement on the Cates books, obviously, but I don't know.
The one thing I noticed about like Marvel books right now, I mean, don't get me wrong, they're good writing, but it's more like it's the first appearance, you know, and that's the event of the book, where that's why people are reading it. It's because it's the first what's Venom, or what's that new character called?
Black Winter.
Virus and Black Winter.
Yeah,
First of all, let's talk about Virus. I'm sure Virus is somebody we already know, so I don't think he's going to be a huge first appearance that people should expect on like that.
Yeah, I'm not telling either.
But they'll still act like it's something different, right? Like the whole reason why the Captain Marvel book started jumping up this week is because it's the first full appearance of her with a hammer. Like,
oh, that's dumb.
Like, really? That's like silly, man.
Captain Marvel, the Accuser.
It is wearing people thin. Like, people are coming into the shop every week and they're pissed that a book is sold out or that a book is already jumped up to $10 to $20. And they're like, because there are people that don't subscribe to books. Maybe they should. But in some shops, it doesn't matter if you subscribe to Thor or Venom. If the book jumps up, somehow it mysteriously gets shorted. So like this happened in the 90s, but it's really hard for someone, say that someone's new, jumping into the industry, say they were like, I love the MCU, so let me give Thor a chance, right? And they're loving Thor. And then issue 4 and 5 come out and they can't find it. They can't get it for less than like $20. That throws people out of the game.
They could always come back second print, third print type stuff.
Except for this, the Thor second print came out this week, and it was already selling for $25 because the second prints are printed less than the first printing.
Yeah, but if you want to read it though, you can read it digitally. There's going to be a trade. Like, I don't know. I mean, like you said, Thor.
New fans don't know all that stuff though, Jim. You know, and they don't.
Well, you got to educate them. You at the shop.
I do. I tell them to subscribe to the damn book because every subscriber at our shop will get it.
And then we got to cover.
If they can't get the second print, there's gonna be a third print probably.
But then Bueller show, Daredevil's a good book right now on Marvel, and that has nothing to do with first appearances or anything like that.
Exactly.
And then I'm digging Ghost Rider. I don't know if that's how others feel about that, but I'm digging that run. What else on Marvel? Strange Academy. Strange Academy. I mean, we're only on issue 2, but I think it has a lot of potential.
Yeah.
I didn't get that book. What's the buzz about that one? Because I hear a lot of people talk about it.
Because Strange Academy is basically the kids of like existing Marvel characters like Dormammu, and it's like this academy where they can learn how to control their magical powers. So think X-Men, but with all the supernatural characters.
Okay. Yeah.
So the thing, there's spec on it because there's a lot of new characters, but also you have Humberto Ramos drawing it, and Scotty Young is the writer, and it seems to be a passion project for them that they're really putting a lot into it. Like if you look at Ramos's art, it's a lot more detailed than what you would have seen him do on Spider-Man. Like he took a lot of extra time, not as much of a time crunch as those other titles. So it has potential. It hasn't really done anything yet, but it's kind of like a Hogwarts for Marvel characters type of a book.
Sure.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I'm enjoying Strange Academy, but I feel like if Ramos leaves the title, like after the initial arc or whatever, the interest will wane.
I don't think he's gonna. I mean, we had him on the channel, and it seemed to be something that him and Scotty were in together.
Yeah, they're doing great work.
I think we brought that up, and I don't think. Don't quote me, but I don't think it's going to be something that will go on if it's not for those two doing it together.
Yeah.
So it's not a miniseries; it's ongoing.
I think it's an ongoing. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
I might have to jump on that.
When it first came out, the idea to me, it was, a trope that we all know. It seemed like, a first appearance grab, and I wasn't too excited about it. And, first issue was okay, but the second issue really cemented that there's something a little more special going on here. So I'm with it.
I think issue 3, I think 1 and 2 were the setup issues, and I think issue 3 something's gonna start going down, and you're gonna, see what's going on. But I'm loving it, man. I wasn't even gonna pick it up too, but I was like, man, I love Scotty Young's writing on Middle West. I was like, let me give it a shot because I just was not digging it when I read it in the previews. But when I read the book, I was like, dude, they put a page from like 5 different sections of the book, so like the previews were totally misleading in my opinion.
Do any of you guys know? Did they cancel that new Punisher book that's coming out? I can't find a solicitation for it.
Soviet?
Yeah. No, Soviet concluded at 5, but they had another Punisher title that was planned coming out later, and I can't find it anymore. And,
I didn't see a new Punisher book. You're the what's coming out next guy.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking you guys. Maybe help me out because I can't find any.
I'm not familiar with it.
Well, I need Punisher, man. That's my favorite character. There's no Punisher book right now.
It just hasn't been put back on the schedule as far as I'm aware. So there's a lot of stuff that's still missing.
What was it supposed to be?
It's just it's another mini series, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just another mini series. I don't even remember who the creative team was now.
It had some weird name to it. I can't remember.
Yeah, what was that? Goodness.
I'd like to have some more.
I didn't even know there was going to be a new. I mean, it makes sense because why would they ever stop making?
Are you talking about the Barracuda book? Is that
yes,
what you're talking about?
yes,
that's right.
That's right.
Oh, but that's like a spinoff.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they just hasn't been put back on their schedule. I don't know. They're just now. If it wasn't for Empire, it would still be kind of slim pickings each week at Marvel. But because of Empire, it seems like there's more now. But
yeah, but even like with Dawn of X, though, man, you got a lot of new stuff: X Factor, Cable, Hellions, and
yeah. So I think that they're getting back to their full strength, and some things will probably just be dropped. Like they may not actually release that new Warriors book now after a few months of thinking about it.
You would think after seeing the reception,
You would think so, but for sometimes that can just embolden them, But I think I want a new Warriors book. I just want it to be focused on Night Thrasher and the old team. That's just me.
I think that I still think that number one issue will sell a lot. People will buy it just to kind of trash it or whatever.
Oh yeah, and they'll be the number one trending thing comic book wise for YouTube that week.
Right. So, what do you guys think? You think this whole Null thing is going to pay off in the end? Is he going to land the plane with it?
I think so, but I don't know if the audience will think so. They're going to find some kind of gimmick or some kind of way to defeat Null. Yeah. Ultimately, I think it might involve a sacrifice on either Eddie's part or Dylan's part. But I think Kate's. We haven't really gotten to see Kate's try to to nail an ending on a
long
form story.
I was just gonna say, have we seen Cates nail an ending yet? He didn't nail Guardians, right?
No.
Yeah, it never. The Guardians never had me, you know. But like his short ones that have come and gone, like God Country, Silver Surfer, Black. Yeah, he's able to do those. But I haven't seen
Ghost Rider.
Yeah, and I just haven't seen any Thanos. I haven't seen anything long form from him. So I think he's got the potential. The problem is with a book with a lot of hype behind it. A lot of people will find themselves dissatisfied that it doesn't live up to the hype. Like I hear this all the time about Blackest Night. Blackest Night, when it was released, was like the most hyped book of the year. Yeah. And then people are like, oh, it just ended in a Care Bear stare. It sucked. And I'm like, no, that's exactly how it should have ended. All the colors getting together to defeat black with white, right? Oh, that sounded weird. But you know what I'm saying? With the white light, right? It's a Care Bear stare. But that's the organic ending of it.
But like you said, though, I think that he probably will have Dylan sacrificed, and that makes more sense than Eddie, right? Because they're going to want to keep Eddie around. I mean, they could kill him for a few years, but Dylan makes more sense because we just got introduced to him in this run, and they're building an emotional connection with him. So it'll mess Eddie up going forward as well.
Yeah, if you kill a kid in a book, it's a big deal, and it will make people like, what?
I guess maybe they won't do that.
And then it's going to cross over with something is killing the children.
Well, yeah, they do. There's a whole title about killing children.
Yeah, that's all they do is just kill the children. More children, let's kill them. That joke guy had a good question there. He's talking about the big two having. They both have events going on. I know Robbie is a huge death metal fan, and and the Joker War just started for the most part. But
they both just started.
Yeah, but I'm liking Joker War better because, man, the metal stuff is too confusing for me, man.
I'm very confused.
Okay, me and Bueller can hang.
See, I love this one better, man. This is like my comic book fanboy gold right here. Yeah. I ooze with excitement every time a new death metal's coming out.
I know, but it's like you got the Batman T-Rex. I don't know, man. It's kind of crazy.
I love it, man.
It's crazy.
I love the Batman. The next issue is supposed to have what is that? What was that TV series with the black car that talked? Kit or Knight Rider? They're gonna Well, I didn't grow up watching that, so don't judge me.
I know about it. That's David Hasselhoff, man.
I watched that show. Yeah. It's got one of the greatest theme songs ever.
That next one shot for death metal is gonna have Scott Snyder said it's going to focus on the Batman T-Rex origin and that Batmobile that talks or that has Bruce Wayne's consciousness in the Batmobile or something. So that stuff is just funny, man. I like it.
I love it. I think if you're going to do a big, I'm sorry, go ahead, Dylan.
No, I was just going to say it's hard to debate on Metal or Joker War, but I love them both so much.
Yeah, I love both of them too. They're different beasts, but with death metal, with a big epic superhero crossover thing where you're throwing in all this stuff, I want it to be wild. I want it to be crazy. I want it to be like when you were a kid and I was reading Infinity Gauntlet and he kills everybody. And you're just like, did you see the newest issue of Infinity Gauntlet? Thanos killed everybody. How are they going to come out of this? And that's what death metal gives me. It's boisterous. It's loud. It's absurd. It's not something that you would see in just an everyday DC comic book. It is wild. And issue 2, oh my goodness, we're talking full spoilers here, everybody. Just be warned.
Let's go.
The Batman Hatton who laughs. Holy shnipe! Oh my god, that blows my mind, man. I love it. I love something. It's ambitious. He's trying to drag, and it took me a minute to understand what he meant by anti-crisis. If every crisis event at DC was meant to simplify things and kind of streamline and cut things out of continuity if they didn't matter, or if they were stale or stagnant. This is the opposite. This is trying to bring it all back together. And 2 issues in out of 6, there's a long way to go. I had the privilege of following the story from Metal through Justice League, though. Yeah. I think that you can read death metal and enjoy it for its absurdity just on its own, but I really think to really understand the full impact of the story, you got to read his Justice League run, is what I think.
That Justice League run was amazing. This is one of the few times in my comic book reading history where I'll admit that DC is just killing it over Marvel right now. I am more excited about DC books that are coming out than I am about the Marvel books, just being honest.
Oh, yeah.
See, I don't think I agree with that. I mean, I think I look forward to Thor and Venom every time they come out, right? Daredevil as well.
Yeah.
DC, I mean, I think DC has better mini and maxi series right now. Like anything that Sean Gordon was doing, I was into. Even like the Jeff Lemire stuff that we mentioned earlier, Joker Killer and Killer Smile or whatever.
Yeah.
And what was the other one? Like Strange Adventures is a good one.
Yeah, it's a great one.
But ongoing for DC hasn't been doing it for me. I mean, I jumped on them a little bit late, but I'm digging Flash and I'm digging Batman, but I don't know about really the other ongoing long-standing titles right now.
Yeah, Flash and Batman are only two I have that are ongoing that's on my pull list for DC, besides the little events.
But you know, you just hit it on the head. All the the minis and maxis that are coming out. It's a lot more than Marvel's putting out.
It's true.
I have a lot more books that are coming out by DC. I mean, all the Black and all the Hill House stuff and all of the Black Label stuff. I've just been loving so many more books coming out of DC than I have with Marvel. And you're right, the ongoing series, none of them have been really too exciting. I kind of dipped my toe in a few different areas, and I've had to really step back out because it just really wasn't.
Like I had to step out of Legionnaires and Superman and Catwoman and all that. But Robbie, I want to ask Robbie. So I remember when Lolo Woods was coming out, and it was like kind of weird and freaky, and I think they really nailed the ending. I think, in my opinion, like stronger than any other Hill House title. So what did you end up thinking about the end of that?
I love the hell out of Lolo Woods. That book was such a journey, wasn't it? I thought they did a great job with the ending, and I'm going to do a reread on all of them and probably try to figure out how I would rank them. But right now, I think Lolo Woods might be my favorite. I don't know, that or Dollhouse Family.
Dollhouse Family was super creepy too, man. And I really like Plunge. Plunge kind of went in a totally different direction than I thought they were going to go. I thought it was going to be something like infesting the waters, but really it was like, well, I don't know if I want to spoil it, but anyway, that's not what it was.
It's space sperm.
Parasitic space worms that can possess you, and so it's a sci-fi zombie book, right? Like,
yeah.
What?
Space semen is what it is. It's that cracked me up in the last issue, actually. But back to the DC thing, like the diversity of the DC line. The fact that, they got their superhero fair, and even out of all that stuff, it's Batman and it's Flash and Green Lantern. Those are the ones that get me excited. I'm not down on the direction of the Superman books or any of the Bendis, Checkmate, Event, a Leviathan, Legion of Superheroes. Like, I'm not down on all that. Some of the peripheral books for Batman, I'm not really that excited about. Nightwing, Detective Comics is kind of inconsistent for me. But everything else they're doing, the diversity of that line, the DC Black Label stuff, like Strange Adventures and the Hill House comics, the stuff that they're letting Taylor do with like Deceased and things like that. They're taking more chances right now to me than Marvel is as a publisher, and I think it's paying off for them. Yeah. And Death Metal is just wild.
Love
and
it.
Even like Strange Adventures, it almost feels like an indie book. It's a superhero character, but it's written like it's an image book or something like that,
Yes, 100%. And that was one of my favorite books of the month as well, was Strange Adventures 3.
I want to see how it pays off. I want to see him get tried for his war crimes on Ron or whatever the hell it's called.
That's the cool thing is I like it when Tom King gets to do like a 12-issue series focused on a hero that most people don't really know or recognize or care about. And that's where he shines for me. I
didn't read anything Tom King, man. I didn't read Vision or Omega Men or the Batman. I did read his Batman stuff, which I guess is the one I know what he likes.
Yeah, that's
what was he known for before those series I just mentioned?
The Vision series.
Yeah, but besides Vision and Omega Men.
Mr. Miracle.
Oh, and Mr. Miracle, yeah.
Yeah, before Omega Men, he wasn't really doing anything.
So Omega Man was his big thing, right? His first.
Omega Man was his first thing, and it was kind of a subtle thing. It wasn't super big. Then he wound up on Grayson, co-writing that with Tim Seeley, and he wasn't really known. But it was Vision that put him on the map. Like they were like, holy cow! And then when Vision was coming out near the end of it, that's when DC signed him exclusive, and then put him on Batman, which is probably too much trust. But I don't know. Tom King's an interesting one because his rise was very, very quick, and some could argue kind of undeserved to be put on the Batman title after basically just Vision. And he had an image book with Mitch Garrett's Sheriff of Babylon as well.
Yeah, it seemed like you said, like it seemed like he did better with not A-list characters. Like you're talking Vision, Miracle Man, or Kyle Rayner was the Omega Man book, right?
Yeah, or just the short form story. You know,
Right,
his idea to do Batman in 100 issues. I think his run would have been executed much better if it was like half of that. If it was 50 issues, I think that would be a solid run of Batman.
So hold on. So Tom King started the Batman Rebirth run?
Yeah.
So he did the whole Gotham Girl and Gotham and all that. Whatever happened to those, those characters never really appeared again, right?
Gotham Girl did. She became a factor, but Gotham died in the initial story arc.
Because I only read the first trade of Batman Rebirth, and then I jumped on when he had, I guess, the wedding arc or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't jump in and out of the Tom King Batman run. You have to like follow it all the way through. It reads better as trades, but it's highly inconsistent to me because he gave himself too much time to tell a story that didn't deserve to be 100 issues.
How many people can do 100 issues, right?
It's great.
That's quite ambitious too. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like you really have only done a handful of comics, and only one of them has really gained you some kind of area of notoriety, and then you get given Batman and you're like, I'm doing it for 100 issues. Yeah. And he had a lot of pull. He got the editor basically kind of canned and replaced with an editor of his choice over the idea that he wanted Dave Finch to draw the proposal scene. And he was moving around. He was actually able to affect editorial more than most creators could. And it's still kind of a puzzle to me. But I think that's also another thing that led into some of his attitude in more recent weeks with other.
He got that CIA background, man. He's not scared to ask.
What does he know about Jim Lee? That's what I'm saying.
And also, man, you got to think he had to follow up a Snyder Capullo run, which most people really love. So it's kind of like he had a lot of things stacked against him with that Batman Rebirth, man.
Maybe that's why they gave it to Tom King. They're like, let's give it to this new guy, and if he fails, then we can just be like, oh man,
we give a new guy a shot.
Anybody still reading Immortal Hulk?
Yeah,
I am. Yeah. I didn't read the last issue because Robbie kind of disappointed me, and I was like, ugh.
I like the last issue, the one after the leader origin story, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're setting up the leader, right, to be like I don't remember who he's portraying himself as, but somebody close to the Hulk that he's going to end up making him look bad publicly or something. Because right now, Hulk's over here doing build a home events and whatever, and people seem to accept him.
I thought it's about to end though, like in a couple issues.
Issue 50.
Yeah, oh, really?
Yeah. Somebody just told me like 40, and I was like, no, I thought it was.
They'll probably do an omnibus for it then.
That comes from Joe Bennett, the artist, said that in an interview or something. That 50, it ends at 50.
Honestly, if Joe Bennett isn't doing the artwork, I wouldn't want it to continue though, because Al Ewing and Joe Bennett together are powerhouse, man. I love Bennett's artwork in Hulk. He does it so well, man. All the horror stuff. He excels with that stuff. Man.
I think the Immortal Hulk needs to stay a horror book. That's what made it noticeable. That's why people started paying attention to it. And it keeps veering away from that and trying to go typical superhero with it. Yeah. And it's not working for me when it does.
As soon as they brought in Betsy as that big red Hulk bird thing, they kind of lost me, because now you're getting superhero goofy when it could have been a horror book with. He should have been the only character that would change into things. I think it really suffered with that. And then you had Zenmu, which there was a lot of cool things about that run, and then a lot of things I hated, like the rocks and stuff. But yeah, you have the Minotaur guy, so it was too much animalistic characters and things like that when it could have been a really good horror Bruce Hulk book. And
that's always
go ahead.
That's always been the problem with me on the Hulk run, is when they bring in so many other Hulks. They just did that, the Greg Pak run, and they even called it Incredible Hulks. Like now Rick Jones is one too, and I'm right there with you. Too many.
That's what I was kind of going to say though. But how do you feel about the different Hulk personalities that he has, and some come out like split kind of stuff? You know,
that's fine to me, because that goes back to the Peter David stuff, and I like that idea. So I like the idea that there's different personalities almost inside of them that come out in certain ways, and I like that battle. But that internal battle is captivating enough to me that you don't need to have. I hate that Betty's like a Hulk character now, and
whack, man.
Too many Hulks, man.
So
and this has been a problem.
Her dad's Red Hulk. She's Red Hulk Bird.
Too many Hulks is the problem.
And I know that didn't start in this run. I know she was the She-Hulk already, the Red She-Hulk, but
yeah, some people like her because I get what's her name, Harpy. Some people
Red
like
Harpy or whatever.
Red Harper.
It's
Because
weird.
there's something back in the day, I think like a 70s comic where she became the Harpy, right?
Yeah.
And then it was but so they're bringing that. So they are doing a lot of callback to stuff, but I don't know. It's losing me, but at times it will do a good issue. Like I thought the leader issue was pretty solid.
Now I feel like all everyone's talking about is not the immortal She-Hulk or She-Hulk. Now that
because they're waiting to get that first appearance.
Exactly. Exactly.
hey, you gotta have the hobby gotta fund itself, man.
Yeah, buddy. Hey man, we spending hundreds of dollars week to week.
Yeah, I think Immortal Hulk was best when when the series started and it felt like a horror anthology. I mean that stuff was blowing me away.
Yeah.
Truthfully, since issue 25, I really haven't been excited about the book until that leader issue came. And the leader issue, then it kind of piqued my interest again. I've stayed on with it, but truthfully, I want that older stuff. I want that horror anthology stuff because I thought that was the best.
I did enjoy the Zemu stuff though, like Zemu eating. Like finally, man,
Yeah.
That was so cool.
No more crushing skulls for you, boss. You just got your ass eaten.
I enjoyed him, but I didn't enjoy the Minotaur guy, the Roxxon Corporation stuff.
Yeah,
the Zenu kind of gave me Teletubby vibes, right? Like I don't know.
Every time I would read the Roxxon stuff, and what is he, the Minotaur? Every time he crushed your skull, I'd be like, "Yo, Jem's about to flip. He's gonna gang up."
He's literally
Why is
killing
anybody working for this guy?
Exactly, bro. I love it.
All right. You guys have any more thoughts on Marvel for this month? Did they put anything out that really stuck with you?
I mean, Daredevil was good though. I think that's Marvel's best ongoing title right now.
Maybe street level, I would think. Street level one, yeah.
For sure.
I'd say
It's not Spider-Man.
I picked Spider-Man back up with this new issue, man. I mean,
It was okay.
it was okay, but they got it. I don't like the Peter Parker story that they're telling, man.
I really.
If it was more about him and Boomerang, I think I would enjoy it more because those are the issues I seem to like the best.
I don't like that. I don't like him being roommates with Boomerang and he's a villain, and I don't know.
I like Boomerang, but yeah, it's weird. Like it conflicts him a lot. Like I don't see how it could work when he's a villain, but I do love the Boomerang stuff. That's what held me in for a while until I dropped it. I'm like, I can't do it.
I guess I was never really like a Superior Foes of Spider-Man guy. I never really cared about. I don't need to know that much about Boomerang. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. It just wasn't for me.
One day I'd like to see Cates and Stegman do a Spider-Man title. That would be cool.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, I haven't been reading. I've been reading Spider-Man, but it isn't even enough. It hasn't been good enough for me to put it on my reviews. With so many other good books coming out, and but I tell you another Marvel book that I've been really into here lately. Just lately is the Avengers. I love this Age of Khonshu story.
Yeah.
Really, really digging that. That really piqued my interest, and I really hope they land the plane with that one.
Avengers has had its ups and downs, but I've enjoyed it for the most part. Honestly, I think if they wouldn't have put Blade on the team, I might have dropped it a while ago. And if Jason Aaron wasn't writing it, because I do like Jason Aaron, but once they put Blade on there, I was like, this is awesome. But they've kind of steered away from that. But man, I just can't, ever since that issue when they go to Transylvania and whoever it was, maybe it was Captain America or something, rescues Blade, and I'm like, what? I was like, they're bringing Blade on the Avengers? I was so hyped, man. Robbie knows, man. That's honestly, Blade is probably my all-time favorite character. Him and Captain America.
There are worse things out tonight, the vampires. Blade's the best. Just the best.
So, I'm reading Hellsing. I don't know if you guys ever read any manga, but I'm like, this is Blade. Or I guess Blade would probably have borrowed from... Well, actually, I don't know, because Blade was originated in the 70s, right?
Yeah.
Hellsing is very much like a vampire story with a vampire that's killing vampires, and he's with the humans kind of thing, so...
That's what I thought about Bleed Them Dry, too. I was like, man, it's like he's like a white Blade. Literally,
I think he's Asian, but...
Oh, yeah. Well, man, they make him look white.
But yeah, Bleed Them Dry is another
Those
Two issue. I love this book.
White skin.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
book's
So let's
amazing.
get into it. Let's talk about the rest of the books this month. Let's talk about the indie titles. And you just showed a great one there, Robbie. Why don't you expand on that one?
Bleed Them Dry is great. It's like Blade Runner meets Blade. It's Blade Runner. It's absolutely great. It's set in the year 3333. The vampires are now like the aristocracy of society. They built this crazy, giant, futuristic cyberpunk city for them. Somebody's starting to kill a bunch of vampires. It becomes a big deal. So they bring in their two best detectives. One's a vampire, one's a human. And then they wind up unraveling this centuries-old conspiracy. It's cyberpunk, ninja, vampire, futuristic fiction. That sells it right there. It's ninja, vampire, cyberpunk. It's Blade meets Blade Runner. It's Blade Runner. And the art is amazing. The coloring is beautiful. And the cityscapes are some of the best I've seen in comics in a long time. And I'm loving the hell out of it. I think it's Vault's strongest title right now.
I love every time you say that. Blade.
Look at that. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's definitely a gorgeous book.
And it's written by Elliot Ray Hall, who's a great writer. So I have a lot of fun with this one.
Yeah, I'm excited to read issue 2 tonight. It's definitely the first issue really intrigued me. I would agree with you. I think it's one of Vault's strongest titles right now.
I just read it myself like a few hours ago because I knew that was going to be one that I wanted to be able to talk to you guys about. So I did enjoy issue 1.
Dude, now we're going to get a cyborg vampire? Like, what the hell?
I was like, wow, that was cool. We got a robo vamp or something, man. He's a RoboCop vampire.
Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
Yeah.
So one that I read last night that really one of the only ones I've read for this week. I read the final issue for Kill Lock and was completely blown away by it.
Really? I
Yeah.
read issue 1 and I really liked it, and then I forgot about it. And then people were like, "You're not reading Kill Lock anymore?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, what happened to Kill Lock?" And now it's coming out. I think I saw a trade being solicited. I'll probably just read the trade.
It's phenomenal, man. It's phenomenal. Yeah. I love it. The artwork itself is worth the purchase.
Why do I remember it being like heavy metal with Hugh Jackman? Is that what it's like, or am I thinking of something else?
I know what you're talking about. That robot movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'd say it's like a darker version of Transformers.
Okay.
Well, I mean, that's what his original work was on the Transformers.
That's what it was, right?
I don't think you get Kill Lock without having him doing Transformers first, because he took chances with Kill Lock in a way that I don't think he would have taken chances with unless he had done that work first. And I mean, I've loved this series all the way through. Definitely, Jim, you should definitely pick it up when it comes out in trade, because
I saw it on the thing and I was like, okay, that's how I'm gonna get caught up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because this was the final issue, and I thought it had such an outstanding ending. Like, the finale took me by surprise, and I absolutely loved it. I dropped out of it after 2 issues, Jim, and then these 3 convinced me to get back to it, and I'm glad I did. Like,
I didn't think anyone else was reading it. I'm like, all right, I guess I'm out here on my own.
I think we're the only 4 people in the world reading it.
When nobody else is reading it, I expel to make sure that it's on my pull, man. I want to be the one.
Fable makes 5.
Speaking of nobody else reading it, is anybody reading Stealth?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Didn't get it.
Great book.
All right.
That's it. Didn't have anything else to say about it. Just wanted to know.
Stealth is awesome, man. Stealth is another superhero book that reads like an indie title, man. And I really enjoy that. I think that's what indie titles miss, is like household name type characters like Stealth. I never forget that superhero name. I don't remember the father or the son's name. Oh, that's Kill Lock, right?
Yeah.
Damn, that looks tight, man. Damn.
It's gorgeous.
He does all the writing and the artwork and the colors, I believe. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I gotta
only
jump back
with the letters.
It's good stuff. I've been loving the Stealth book. I think the first book surprised me the most, and then I love how he's just building the story from there.
Yeah.
And, it's definitely one of my favorite Image books right now.
The new villain they just introduced knows he's a villain. Like he's owning up to the fact that he's the bad guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see where they go with this one.
Another good one from Image that like really just like went to another level in my opinion this month was Family Tree.
Oh yeah.
Like holy cow. How is a book about a girl turning into a tree become something so emotional?
I'll tell you how Jeff Lemire.
Exactly, right? Like that book is freaking fire. Jeff Lemire, like he could just touch a pile of shit and it would just like turn into like such an amazing book, you know?
He had a really good book on TKO, man, with that Sentient, man. That was a dope book.
That was one of my favorite books last year. Sentient was great.
I still have not gotten that.
Dylan.
I'm lacking. I know.
That's one I didn't hop on when it first came out. I should have. I thought I had grabbed the actual series when one of the local comic shops had their big sale. I grabbed Trees, which is by Warren Ellis.
You're right.
Yeah.
I thought it was this series, and it wasn't. So
you were confused as hell.
So I had Sleepy Reader on my comic book review with me a couple of weeks ago, and his review of that last issue gave me FOMO. Man, I've got to get on that book.
It's great. I think you'll like the artwork too. Phil Hester's the artist, and he's got like an angular type style that really works for the nature of the story. And the characters are so compelling. I don't remember their names, but they're like the mom and the son, and now the son's going to be a bigger deal than we thought he would. And the grandpa, that's one of my favorite Jeff Lemire characters ever.
The grandpa is the best character in the whole thing.
Yeah, he's great. Family Tree's great. And if you guys haven't read Sentient or anything, just reach out to TKO. They do a really good job of hooking content creators up with that do reviews and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, there's two books that I need to mention because I'm still on them and I've been digging them. The first one is Kids. I don't know if any of y'all have been reading Kids, but absolutely love this book. It's by Blaze Studios. It's kind of like I keep saying it's like Sandlot meets The Walking Dead.
It's a great way to describe it. I'm going to steal that.
But it's done in like Sunday's like funny paper artwork, kind of like Calvin and Hobbes type deal. And but even so, the way they present it, it has an innocence to it, but at the same time, having gravitas that is it's outstanding. I'm loving this book.
Those last two issues went deep with it too. They really did.
What issue are they on right now?
5.
They're on 5.
And 5 had that Gorillas cover. That was awesome.
That was awesome.
Yeah. They have great homage covers as well. I know Dylan loves homage covers. They have some good ones.
Man. I was just going to say, man, check your store next time you're working. Because if you got all 5 issues, put them in my box because I want them. Because I
might still have. So
really, if you got the homage covers, put them in there. But honestly, I'm at the point where I'd take whatever. But every time you talk about it, so I've been reading the Blaze Sumerian, and I'm liking that. So I was like, man, every time you it seems like each issue gets better and better with that series. And I'm like, man, I wish I would have jumped on that because each issue, it's like farther away from me being able to get it and just being like, maybe just trade weight it. But who knows with the Blaze if they'll even do trades. You know, they're a newer company. So
I think they will. I think they've got some, or they're planning on doing some, like with the Vampire State Building came out in trade, I think.
Oh, did it? Okay.
This is my favorite Blaze book that I've read, and I think there's only one issue left, but I'm not sure about that. But it's pretty solid. And like Fable said, a lot of people don't like the artwork because it is that cartoony, like Sunday strip type style. Mm-hmm. But to me, like in the last issue, to show that style can handle the weight of these kids having to deal with violence and death in a zombie apocalypse, wow, holy cow! Like I'm impressed by Kids every single issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like it's just getting better. I really, really enjoyed the last issue. Another one that I've been reading, and I almost dropped off it in the second issue, but I stayed with it, is that Artemis and the Assassin. I'm really digging that book.
Really? I dropped out of the first issue, so I might have to check it out again.
Yeah, I like where they've gone with it. The issue with the society, that assassin society that can travel through time. And then there's basically, she goes back to World War II, and there's I can't remember her name. It's a famous female spy from World War II, and she kind of fights her off, and they both go back in time. And because she jumped in time in a way that was the guild didn't, sanction, now the whole guild is sending all their assassins after them. in the Old West. A lot of fun. It's a really fun read.
I'll get caught up eventually.
Yeah.
Bob doesn't steer me wrong. You know, people are always like, I learn about a lot of titles from you. I learn about them from Bob sometimes. He's the reason why I got caught up on Suicide Squad. So glad I did. He's one of the reasons I got caught up on Kill Lock. So glad I did. So, heck yeah. If anybody is here because of the rest of us scrubs and they'd not subscribe to Everything Comics, y'all got to subscribe to this channel. It's dope.
Hey, don't forget about me. Me and Bob pressed you on
And Dylan too. Yeah, Dylan. That's a son of a bitch, Dylan.
I gotta have one book in my life that I could say I got Robbie to read it. Don't leave me hanging.
I'm
just happy when I review I'm just happy when I do my reviews and then I go watch Robbie's and I'm like, all right, we kind of thought the same thing. I'm like, all right.
I do the same thing.
You feel validated a little bit.
I'm like, oh, I agreed with Jim. Maybe I can get 90,000 subscribers.
Sometimes I feel like, man, I hope he knows that I don't watch his shit before I record mine because we said like almost the same exact thing.
No, just great minds think alike, Jim. You know that. That's how it rolls, man.
But then there's stuff we sometimes we disagree. There was something on the last video that you didn't like, but I really liked it. I'm trying to think of what it was. Something later in your video. I can't remember, yo.
Me neither. That was like 40 comics ago.
Yeah, exactly.
I read 6 issues of Spawn today, so I can't even think of anything else.
What did you read? 302 to 308 or something?
No, I read 40 through 46.
Oh, okay.
I'm doing the grand reread.
Yo, Spawn's got me confused as hell right now, and it's not the type of book that should be confusing you. That's what's so crazy to me.
I picked up the idea because I read 300 when it came out, and I was lost. And so I read the newest one, and I guess apparently like some portal ripped open, and there's other like spawns coming from other realities or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Ghost spawn that's possessing bodies or something like that.
But it's good to know that they're still dealing with the Billy Kincaid stuff.
Oh, you know what's funny now? Yeah, they were teasing Billy Kincaid. You know what's funny? I just thought of it now, right? So Spawn kills medieval Spawn, and that's the first time a Spawn has ever killed another Spawn. And now we have this Spawn character who doesn't really have a body, and he's kind of going inside other bodies as a host. So damn, maybe that could be medieval Spawn's spirit or some shit like that, man.
I don't know. I'm glad I'm down for the ride now. You know, I'm locked in. We're good to go. And eventually I'll get completely caught up. But Spawn's not one I can power through 20 issues in a night. I can read like 5 or 6, and I'm like, I'm good.
Well, I think the news, like the Frank Miller Batman Dark Knight Returns news pages, always drug it down for me because I was like, these walls of text that aren't really that necessary.
McFarlane does a lot of those, not just with the TV news people, right? He'll just have like walls of text sometimes, and you're just like, whoa, okay.
Like, you were in a novelist mood during that day.
I was gonna say, I didn't know you were a novel writer, McFarlane.
Yeah. He's like Michael Douglas in Wonder Boys. He's just getting high and just writing like over and over and over again. Just like that could probably been cut down. I think Todd would be benefited with actually getting a writer on board, like to kind of like script and co-plot with him. I know he's done that in the past, and it hasn't always worked out for the best. I know he had beef with Brian Wood, and he had beef with Paul Jenkins, because Todd's one of those guys is like my way or the highway.
Yeah. He's a very big personality. And then you got Neil Gaiman. I mean, he might not want to get other writers.
Right? He's like, I don't want anybody else on here to create a character randomly, right? Maybe he's got a better contract now, though, right? I'm assuming.
You would think.
I could see Todd talking in like the third person to himself all the time. Come on, Todd. Like smacking, like in the writing room, just smack. Come on, Todd, you're better than that. Smacking himself.
It's hard because he's one of those guys that has a big ego, but it's well deserved, man. I don't know. It's hard.
Yeah,
you got to have that ego to be great, like Todd is.
Yeah, that's true, man.
He's my favorite out of all those Image guys. Jim Lee would be second, but I don't know.
Oh, no contest for me out of the original crew.
Yeah.
Well, he's the one still doing what he does. Him and Eric Larson are the only ones still doing their books, right? So
and McFarlane's doing figures, and man,
he changed everything with that. Man.
McFarlane had the hustler spirit as well as the talent. You know what I mean?
Yep, he does.
And he had the vision to branch out into other things like sports figures. Like he blew the market open with that. If you watch the documentary, he meant like, the players are on there like, yo, this has never really been done before McFarlane toys.
That's how I got into him.
He was also quick on the Walking Dead toys as well, man. Like he's on it. The only thing I feel, my daughter is a huge Five Nights at Freddy's fan. She don't even know who Todd McFarlane is, but she's got mad McFarlane toys in her room, yo.
Yeah.
But the only thing, I feel Todd's still stuck on this action figure mind frame, and it's like, dude, we don't really collect action figures like that anymore. We need the statues. We need like.
I collect action figures like that, Jim, and I'm glad for McFarlane Toys.
Yeah.
Have you seen their new DC toys? They're pretty dope. They're really good.
All I'm saying is he could do action figures, but let's get some big high-end collectibles as well, man. Those Spawn, Tremor, Overkill, like all those characters would be great in statues.
They would, and wouldn't it be great too if he would reprint those damn hardcover omnibuses?
Don't even get me started. But you know what? He might not. He won't because of the Cerberus stuff and the Angela stuff. Like Angela's in mad issues, not just issue 9. So like, how would I wanted a box set? Because here's my quick thought process on this. An omnibus is going to have about 30 or so issues. So to get to 300 issues, he needs to have 10 omnibus. The sales on each omnibus are going to be significantly less. So he's never going to get there. Just like the deluxe editions only got to volume 4 because now you're 100 issues in. If you couldn't buy issue 1, which sells for like $1,000, why would you buy volume 5? So he needed to do like a box set that collects the 300 issues. It'll be however many standard size hardcovers, but is he going to be able to get the rights to Angela and to Cerberus or whoever to reprint his stuff, you know?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Because they have trades that stay in print that have Angela and those characters in them.
But when's the last time one came out, though?
But they keep them in print.
Do they? I don't know.
Yeah, they do. They do because like the Spawn Origins trade paperbacks sell out consistently at Diamond and then get reprinted.
If that's the case, I need him to work on that box set ASAP.
I think he just has to cut a check maybe to Gaiman and more.
And he might not want to because he don't really need the money. You know what I'm saying? He could just make a Spawn action figure and make $2 million. So he might not, or $3 million. He might not necessarily need to do it.
Oh,
but
thanks for reminding me. I'm so excited. In October, we're supposed to get that figure. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
I bet he don't.
I passed on it just because I don't rock with the action figures.
I get it, man. I get it. I can't have as many awesome statues as you have, but I can have just as many toys.
I collect the action figures first, though. Like when I first got back into the hobby, I would go back and get Spider-Man animated series, Venom: The Madness, stuff like that, Mortal Kombat. But then I would do Marvel Selects, and I used to really like the Thing or like the Thanos, like the bigger Marvel Selects. I would stand them in slabs. And it was
ones they would have to strap onto the blisters so they wouldn't just like rip open the package.
Right, exactly.
They're so heavy, like that Abomination he did. Holy cow!
The Abomination.
That's like a 5-pound figure.
That they didn't really need a base or anything because they just stood up on their own, and that's what kind of got me into statues because that's kind of what they are. These big, huge things that you can kind of put next to your slab or whatever. But the action
I think that it's the Sideshow is pretty much the best game in town. I'd love to see McFarlane come out with some stuff and give Sideshow a run for their money because he can put out some amazing stuff.
He really could.
I don't know if he doesn't know the market or I don't know the reason why he doesn't do it, man. Because he could even sculpt. I'm sure he could sculpt. Like he's a talented artist, or at least have some. At least he could do the concept art and have a digital sculptor or even a traditional sculptor do it.
I mean, look at what he does with the figures. I mean, statues are bigger, so he'd have more room.
Does he license out Spawn for the statues? Because there are some Spawn statues, right?
I don't think they're licensed though.
Oh, okay.
Also, I don't think he likes to make high-end things. I think he was always about affordable things, if I recall.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Right.
He completely revolutionized the toy industry, though.
Remember,
completely.
he's the one guy that keeps his comic book at $2.99.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's the everyman creator. You know what I'm saying?
He's definitely for the fans. That's for sure. So,
Frankie, you should totally buy a Ram Man for $5, especially if he comes with his axe and the bracelets.
So we do have a few people in the chat that have been talking about a few things before we get wrapped up. A lot of people want to know if we've been reading the AWA Upshot books. Anybody know those?
Every single one.
I'm liking all of them except for Resistance, but I love Year Zero and Hotel especially.
Hotel is amazing.
Yeah.
I really am hoping we get a volume 2. I can't say it enough. I wish AWA would be listening right now and they could just know how much it needs a volume 2. 4 issues isn't enough, but yeah, man, Resistance, man. I ain't feeling it. And they're giving that another side story, aren't they?
Yeah, because that's Straczynski, so he's got the pull to do it.
He wants the world build. It's not bad. It's just it's losing my attention, you know.
Red Border is getting better, for instance, though. Like I'm loving Red Border. Yeah, you did, Dylan. Another one Dylan got me back onto.
I told you, man,
This is AWA.
Yeah.
And where are you guys buying these? Is it at a comic shop, or you got to get them at Walmart?
I get them at my comic shop.
Comic shop.
I've never seen one in person. I don't even know what they look like.
Really? A lot of shops I know are not wanting always to take chances on new publishers, but this is a silly one not to take a shot on because it's Axel Alonso and Devil's Highway. That was a great first issue.
Yeah.
That was a real good first issue.
I love Devil's Highway.
A lot of people always ask me, am I reading anything AWA? I just never even seen one. I don't know what any of the titles are. I know nothing about them.
They're really good at reaching out to people as well. So like I would just say get in touch with them and they'll send you some stuff.
Oh, really? But they do sell in Walmart too. Wasn't that their whole thing?
I don't know.
Didn't they have standees or something in
They
Walmart?
did. I think that's the one that had the little standees in Walmart.
Yeah, and I thought that it was, and they're not through Diamond. I might be confusing things. I don't know.
No, they're through Diamond. So
okay.
There's another company that I don't remember what company that was, but they were only going to deal with like 50 comic shops or something like that. I think maybe there's some confusion between those two publishers. I don't even remember who they were supposed to be. Bad Idea Publishing or something?
Somebody sent me a picture of a standee in Walmart of the AWA books.
Right, that's right. I remember seeing that. Yeah.
I avoid Walmart like COVID-19 right now.
Yeah,
I don't even go in there. Well, I go in there to cereal hunt. That's where I found that box of caramel Apple Jacks. But that's it. I'm in and out. I don't even have time to look for comics. I just
not at Walmart.
Toy aisle, Blu-ray bin.
Why did I think they were at Walmart, man? I don't know what the hell I was thinking.
I think they're trying to that's not a newsstandy type thing. That makes sense for DC to do that, right? Because kids will be in there with their parents, be like, "Oh, let me get this Batman comic or whatever." But that's weird.
Marvel has the mystery packs. It's like 3 or 5 comics in like a mystery bag or whatever.
Yeah, that's what they used to do back in the day, Dylan. Like when we were reading comics in the early '90s, that shit was all over the place. Do y'all remember that? So it's cool to see that happen because it gets comics into kids' hands. But AWA is not something you want to get into a kid's hand.
No.
Marvel actually did something with Thor and Strange Academy. They had a Walmart exclusive variant.
Yeah, they were having those.
That you could only get in those mystery packs, and it was for Thor 1 and Strange Academy 1.
I remember the Comic Tom, I think, was talking about them or something, these Walmart variants.
Yeah.
Walmart.
It's like $8. I think it's like $8 to $10 for like 3 books, and you only can see the first one.
You have to peek, Dylan.
Peek? Yeah. Come on.
Yeah, you have to peek. Just kind of stretch the plastic, man.
That was a skill back in the day, man.
Well, every time I go on my Walmart, they're already ripped open, so I can just kind of like look up and see if there's any. They're already torn apart, and I was like, I didn't know.
I've never seen any of those books at Walmart.
They're always like the same. Though at my
where are they at? Where do they put them?
Like mine are by the front register, like by the Pokemon and Magic cards.
Yeah, because it's usually a different company that does it. Walmart doesn't actually stock them. Like that whole aisle with all the card stuff and all the comics, like that's apparently like an outside distributor that comes in and sets all that up or something.
Okay.
I have a friend who does that for Mattel, and I think it's a pretty sweet gig until the shutdown happened, obviously.
Allegiance Arts is at Walmart. What that's the one we're thinking about, Jim.
Oh,
maybe, yeah. But I guess AWA, I don't know.
Yeah.
AWA, what does it stand for? Like artists and writers, artisans or something like that?
It's artists with attitudes.
Artists, right?
Come on, man. Artists with attitudes.
You're about to witness the strength of comic knowledge.
Jim would probably really like Year Zero and Devil's Highway because you're a fan of Ben Percy, aren't you? You like his writing.
Percy, what he's doing, X-Force and Wolverine.
Yeah.
What has he done besides that, though?
He did a run on Green Arrow. That was pretty good. That was the Rebirth era, and that's all I really know from him.
I like his X-Force. Wolverine still hasn't really done anything, but yeah.
Now he's writing 2 indie titles for AWA. One's a zombie book, and that one's phenomenal right now. But the other is we've only gotten 1 issue, and it's kind of like a murder mystery thriller.
Yeah, it's like a serial killer who's a trucker. So this woman's trying to get revenge on her. Was it her dad that died or something?
Yeah.
And so she's going to go into the world of truck driving. which
Yeah.
to me is
Yeah.
already a scary freaking place to start, right?
Underground of truck driving. I thought that was a phenomenal.
It's a
first
weird
issue.
world, man. Look into it. It's a weird
It
world.
is.
And Benjamin
is.
Percy says that in his essay at the end of the first issue. He's like, when I was researching what it's like to be one of those 18-wheeler drivers, like that's a weird and shady world. One of my friends and one of the members of the PCP Army is one of them. He's not a super weird guy or nothing, but I bet he's got some stories he could tell me.
I was actually thinking I just drove from where I'm at to LA last week or the week before, and there's mad semis on the road, and I was like, damn, imagine just driving all the time. That's like, I hated driving as much as I was just for like a 12-hour drive.
So imagine driving those big ass trucks too, dude. That's got to be a chore.
Some of them dudes be having like the little bed in the back and all that, right?
Yep. I like that about AWA, how they put those essays from the writer in the back. It kind of gives you like a bit of knowledge and insider, I can't think of the word, but whatever. Like on what they went through in the research to get that story made. I really like how the AWA has been doing that.
Yeah. And they all would, I mean, most comic books now are basically just trying to create IP that would get somebody's attention, like Netflix or movie studio or something. And I've heard AWA be accused of that's all they're doing. And I'm like, but they're actually doing some great craft with their comics, and in particular Year Zero.
Yeah.
And but there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, hell yeah, man. If you can sell your idea for like 50 grand, sell it. Do it.
Absolutely.
Fund the hobby.
Well, I mean, none of them have been optioned yet, so it's like it's not like it doesn't seem like they're like that's their entire motive. Like sometimes with Image and stuff, you kind of know like they'll even say like Netflix on the back, and it's already optioned.
Yeah,
before
it's the first issue.
Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, this is trying to get some hype for the speculators to be like, oh, this is gonna be optioned, so you don't want to miss out on this.
No one mentioned Ice Cream Man because July didn't have an Ice Cream Man.
Yeah,
we have that next week though. It's the Dr. Seuss one. I'm very
We
excited.
talked about Thor, and there was no Thor in July.
yeah, just Venom this month.
There wasn't a Thor. You're right. Yeah.
How was there not a Thor? So and it's been like 5 weeks of July.
It's because they're still staggering their release schedule.
Yeah,
And they have too many Empire books out right now. They cut like half of them. That's the crazy thing. They cut like half of them away.
I learned my lesson this time. Like I like Marvel, I stick with them, but I'm not reading all these Empire tie-ins. I stopped this week.
I ain't picking up any.
I'm good, bro.
There.
When it comes to Marvel big events, that's what I just wait for it to be over with, and I just read the main title.
Yeah.
I'll let Robbie read Empire.
I'll tell you this though. I mean, I am.
You're gonna read Empire, Captain America 1 through 3.
I read 1. Why not finish out? We'll see. If issue 2 drops on a week where I take home 50 books, maybe not, but probably. I feel like it's my duty. I told everybody I would read it so they wouldn't have to.
You're like the angry video game nerd of comics.
I should do a series of films. A series of videos that are me ranting about crappy comics I've had to read. Right?
It's gonna take you back to the past.
Exactly.
There you go. That's
I wonder if I can contact that dude that wrote that song and get him to write one for me.
You probably charge a lot now.
Probably not. Right? He just wrote the one song.
Yeah, but that song is big, man. That dude's got his show on Amazon and everything.
Oh, does he? Oh, that's cool. I actually love the Angry Video Game Nerd, but
Oh, it was great. His thing on Ninja Gaiden for NES was the best.
Oh yeah, because that game's freaking hard, dude.
Yeah.
I've watched the Silver Surfer video like 8 times because I play that game at least once a month.
I've watched
I
the
don't know
Turtles
why.
one a lot. The first NES Turtles game.
Yeah, right.
I'm
Great
one
game.
is you're gonna break your controllers.
Right.
Robbie's always telling me about these NES games that just piss him off.
Yeah, Silver Surfer's one.
To him, Friday the 13th, and what was that? What was the other one you were telling me about?
Well, right now I'm playing Paperboy like a motherfucker, and I can't get past Wednesday.
Oh man, that takes me back.
Paperboy. It's a good game, but it's hard, man. It's hard because it whatever.
Well, listen, y'all, it has been amazing getting together with you guys and talking comic books. I think this has been a great roundtable going over our favorite books of the month. And you guys are an amazing set of reviewers, YouTubers, and always love getting together with you. Privileged to call myself be a friend. And man, we'll get together next month and do the same thing. But before we go, I just want to give everybody a chance to talk about their channel really quick. And Robbie, since we started with you in the beginning, why don't we go ahead and start with you here in the end? Go ahead and let everybody know what's going on with your channel.
Weekly comic book review every Tuesday night. I read usually about 40 to 50 comic books. I try to get that more towards 40, but I'll let you know what's worthwhile picking up, what's worthwhile to just completely skip. We do the weekly pop culture wrap up every Sunday morning where we go over new comic book announcements, movie trailers, and stuff like that. We do live shows. We do live movie reviews almost every Friday night. We're gearing up for Horror Fest. I know Dylan's excited for that to start in September, but we are tonight at 9 o'clock my time, which is just 40 minutes away, covering New Jack City by demand. So join us there if you're not tired of watching YouTubers streaming. Check us out at 9. Check us out in 40 minutes talking about New Jack City. PCP.
For the love of money.
There we go. And I'll just say that, normally those movie review videos, they kind of have a low view count. I'm telling you, you guys got to go check those out. They're a lot of fun. The discussion on the movies is amazing. So definitely check that out on Robbie's channel.
Well, thank you, Bob.
So much fun. So much fun.
Dylan, tell us what's going on with your channel, my friend.
Not much, man. Just doing some live streams here and there. I gotta work on a couple of edited videos because I haven't edited in a while, but I've been just really sticking to some live streams here and there. Not much, man, because I was gutting the house, but I'll have a live stream tomorrow talking about some of this week's comic books with my boy Chaos and Second Street Marvel. So that's about it, my man.
Awesome stuff. It was good having you on tonight. Jam, what's going on your channel, my friend?
What up, man? So, we do, a lot of statue reviews, do a weekly comic book day review as well. I drop it on Wednesday morning. I do omnibus hauls and reviews. I got a review for the 0 Hour omnibus coming up, so that should be fun. And then I do some stuff with my wife. We do a weekly, we do a weekly live show, but sometimes we do other ones as well, where we just talk pop culture, comics, movies, music, and stuff like that. And what else do I do? I guess that's about it.
All right. Well, it was awesome having you on. When I found out that you were going to be on last night, I was like, man, it's going to be awesome, man. It's like taking it back to the beginning.
Yeah,
man, I had no idea. No one even told me. So
it was a surprise, Dylan. Happy birthday.
Send me the link if you ever want me on. I'll try to come on if I'm not doing anything,
Absolutely. And then we got my good friend Bueller. Bueller, what's going on your channel, buddy?
A lot of good stuff. Everyone knows that Bob is my co-host for the coffee video that comes out on Monday. We got episode 89 on this coming Monday. And then we're taking a break for a week because we're going to remodel the set. We got a bunch of giveaways for like 10 straight weeks. We have a new sponsor of the show. You guys will find out more about that here in a couple weeks when we come back for episode 90. Should be a lot of fun. A lot of really great giveaways. The people are being very generous with us, so it's going to be really cool. I just want to say there was a lot of great books this month. There's a lot of great books next month. There's 7 Secrets by Boom. If you haven't checked that one out, put that on your pull list. You're going to like that one. A lot of us got some advanced copies of that one. Also, Finger Guns #4 will come out, and trust me, you're gonna want to get #4 because it's a little it's interesting. So great title. I think Robbie checked that one out and stuff. And but great books, great time to be a collector. And thanks, Bob, for having me on. This is a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And I want to thank each of you for taking some time out and being on tonight. I love talking comics with you guys. And of course, this is Everything Comics. My Coffee and Comics video will drop tomorrow morning. And I do that every week, which I dig. I did my first creator interview this week. I got to interview Anthony Cleveland from Mad Cave. That was a lot of fun. So thanks. And so we got a lot of great stuff planned coming up, a lot of new stuff, and I'm really looking forward to it. And but this is like one of my favorite times of the month. And as I said in the beginning, I get excited when I get to do this video. So again, thank you all for tuning in.
Real quick, Bob. Who has next month? Is it Dylan?
It's Dylan next month. Yes.
Dylan or is it Robbie?
Me.
Robbie, then me.
It feels like it's been forever since I've had this on my.
It really does.
It was January.
Next month.
All right, so it's Robbie next month. So we'll look for the advertisement on that. And but definitely thank you everybody for tuning in and for chiming in the chat and for supporting each of the channels. Do us a favor. Do me a favor. If you like the content I'm putting out, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. As always, support your local comic shop, guys, and Excelsior. Y'all take care.
Look at everyone.